Hey athletes, it's Josh and Cole, and this is the Coaches Collab podcast. Yeah, so to continue what I was saying about Taekwondo, the best thing, it's probably the best thing that I ever did for learning how to be a team coach.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I used to, so at 16, 17, I was sometimes left to be the instructor, because the instructor would, she was a chiropractor, so maybe she'd have an appointment or...
Right, she'd be busy sometimes.
Yeah. So she'd leave me in charge, her and her kids. But the way it goes is highest ranking black belt typically runs the class.
Yeah.
And then all of the other black belts kind of do what that person says.
Right.
And then there's child black belts. We call them junior black belts or POOMs.
Uh-huh.
So I'd have to run a class, let's say, of 30 kids that are all different levels. I'd have to assign certain black belts to certain people based on how well they work together.
Right.
So that they'd be grouped up. And then I would have my group, but then I would still have to be able to watch all of the groups because we're talking kids here, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, kids teaching kids, sometimes they mess up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to be able to see what was going on and teach all at the same time. It was bizarre.
Yeah, there's two tiers there. You're teaching the kids who are teaching, and then you're teaching the kids who are getting
all at the same time.
Too,
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So for those who don't know, we were talking about martial arts a little bit, and Josh has a history of Taekwondo.
Yep.
You said, 7 years you did it?
yeah, about 7 years.
Yeah.
Went to Korea for Hapkido. By no means does that mean I know what I'm doing in a fight, by any means. You know?
But you're better off than the average Joe.
You know, I don't know, because it's been 5 years. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure...
But, I think you would resort back to your...
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, you think
resort back to my first thing you do is run if you can. Fuck yes. I am running.
I was talking about this to someone the other day. It was like, I think it was Joel actually in the gym. I don't know how this came up, but of course, guys, we talk about fighting randomly.
Right.
Now, because I was a wrestler, I'm like, honestly, the first thing I would do is if I were ever to get in that situation, which hasn't happened, and I hope...
Who's going to pick on you?
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? I was always the bigger guy.
Right.
So I never really had to get into fights because people always thought, oh, don't mess with him, he'll beat you up. So I never really had to, which I'm thankful for, but I don't have, experience.
And you're not cutting through back alleyways.
Right, no, absolutely
the streets of Sartell.
Yeah, no.
You know?
But the first thing I would do is I would just double leg him and take him right to the ground. I'm like... Why would I waste my time on my feet where I have no experience?
Right.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down where I know that I can beat 90% of the people.
Just like Khabib.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it's Taekwondo was all about kicking.
Yep.
And then what happens once you grab me.
Right.
So I'm very bad with my hands. I mean, I certainly know deadly blows and certain strikes that I can do to kill you, but that's not what I'm trying to go for.
Right.
But
you don't want to be pressed with a murder charge.
Right, exactly. But so with all the self-defense practice that I did with guns, knives, you choke me, bear hug me, headlock me, whatever. I'm really good if I am able to get a hold of you. Mm-hmm. So if you're throwing haymakers, I mean, I've got a better shot.
Yeah.
But if anybody who's actually practiced MMA, they're gonna fucking tear me up.
Well, and that's the thing too is I was like, well, I've never been in a hand-to-hand combat experience that hasn't been officiated.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so all of my experience has been by these certain set of rules.
Right.
So, I mean, you're in a street fight. Someone kicks you right in the balls, you're screwed. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting though is a lot of people that's their biggest concern. But
I've never seen it.
Has anybody ever juked just to try to pretend to kick you in the balls? What do? You instantly flinch.
Yeah,
your brain is always concerned with getting hit in the nuts. So there's so many I can do worse to you stomping on the top of your foot than trying to kick you in the nuts, or even just scraping down your shin or hitting you in the side of the leg or in the shin or some shit.
That's what they do.
Leg kick. Oh fuck, you're done.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's easy
because people don't see it coming. They're just you could put someone on the ground with one leg kick if you're not ready for it.
For sure. All the strike training that I did. So I've been in a fight, just one, that I couldn't talk myself out of. This kid was hell bent on, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. We're going. All right, fuck. But this was before I became a black belt, so this was a year into the training. To us, it was you do this drill, whatever the technique was, then you stop and then reset and maybe do it again, stop, reset, whatever. So I always had the perception that once you do it, you're done.
Right.
You see what? Because I've never been in the situation.
It was more like a sequential thing.
Exactly. So
that sequence is burned into your brain.
Blew a roundhouse right into his ribs. Just fucking let loose. He flinched, and I'm like, well, fight's gonna be over because he's gonna quit.
Yeah.
Fucker didn't quit. So then we actually had to fight.
Now it's like, oh, now what?
Right.
You
then
know,
we had to.
Plan A did knock him out, or
Right, and it wasn't that I was gonna knock him out. I was just thinking, this motherfucker is a moron if he thinks after I kick him that's all I've got. You know, come on, let's stop this. Ended up, we had mutual friends there watching it because they just wanted to see it. They ended up stopping it because it was either he was going to completely choke me out because he was ready to kill somebody, or I was in a position where he was clenching on me, I was clenching on him. I said to him, I will take my elbow and ram it through your face, otherwise we are done. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like, I will break every bone in your goddamn face. Because he was
How
just
old
right
were you
there.
when this was happening?
15.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it was all resolved, and we stopped, and it was smart because again, it was either I literally had to blow his face out or he had to choke me out, and that was not a good situation.
Right.
And my buddies knew, like, oh yeah, he could totally do that. So that was really the only experience, but. Again, it's more you grab me type thing. So when you were saying a 2-leg takedown, most people that are going in that are going to get into a fight, they're going to be the hot-headed football player.
Yes.
They know what being tackled is.
Right.
So sometimes just a 2-leg takedown is not the way to go.
Yeah, but at the same time.
But you are bigger than most people.
Well, and I mean, like that was my go-to, and even in wrestling. Yeah. So like there are little people that I think could stop a double leg takedown, and even if I'll just drive you right into the wall, you know what I mean? Like it's
if there's a wall around, you know what I'm saying? Street fights are so odd in that you could be pinned up against a corner, or like a cage situation, or you're in the middle of a field. Because some asshole challenged you.
Yeah, at a bonfire out in the country.
Who knows? Throwing a bottle at you or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's freaky.
So, what do you think were the greatest lessons you learned from martial arts that have transferred into your weightlifting training or just coaching or anything? Yeah,
so weightlifting, I would say. So martial arts. I mean, Bruce Lee had the quote. I'm not afraid of the one guy who knows 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the guy who's in one kick 10,000 times, right?
Yep.
So we had that similar philosophy too. So just the constant grind, I'm really good at.
Refinement.
Constantly, yeah. Yep. So snatch, clean and jerk, squat, just about every day. Add in a few pulls, a few presses. It's so similar every single day.
Repetitive. Reps rule everything.
Yeah, every day.
As long because you have the snatch and the clean and jerk are your two competition lifts. Yep. So if you can perfect those, like you said, 10,000 times,
right? Or more. I mean, I've probably done
for sure.
I've probably done in the thousands of reps. Probably not 10,000, but I've done thousands of reps. And just this 4-week phase, the way I thought about the snatch and the way I think about it now is so different. So even though I went through a period where 4 weeks in a row I was supposed to max out every Saturday, I didn't PR, but that wasn't the whole point. It was, wow, I learned this little nuance, and I'm going to spend the next 4 weeks with pretty significant weights to make sure that this technique stays firm through the 90 percentile, because that's where your form's going to break down. You can do anything you want at 60%, but at 90, that's 90 plus, that's when you're actually going to see those changes. And yesterday, doing a 95% snatch exactly how I wanted it to go was great. So, I mean...
And I think that's an issue a lot of new lifters have.
Oh, for sure.
Is being able and not getting bored of doing the same lifts every week. Because, I mean, a lot of times they get bored. They're like, hey, is this all we're going to do? And I'm like, well, if you're training to be a powerlifter, then this is all you're going to do.
It's got to be very specific.
And I mean, obviously, if you really are not enjoying this training, then I'm going to throw in some stuff to make it a little more enjoyable. But these are still going to be the things that we focus on. And in order to get good at a squat, you got to squat.
Exactly.
So, and that's one thing that you have to kind of figure out as you're training for these two sports, and also you need to be able to look at the squat and figure out, or the bench or the deadlift or whatever you're doing, and then be able to find the fun in, oh, this weight has never moved this way before, or
this fast,
my form has never looked this good at this percentage
I've never done it for a double.
Right, you have to be able to find kind of the fun in doing that type of thing, rather than just looking at as one movement and then being like, oh, I just squat and then now I'm moving on.
Yeah, you have to think how, so, let's say I can squat 100 pounds. How do I get to 105?
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe you have to double 90.
Right.
Or triple it. Okay, now I can do 105 because I'm stronger, whatever.
Yeah. You have to find the nuances in the individual lifts.
For sure.
And that's what makes it fun is, like you said, refining, doing those 10,000 kicks and making that lift, that movement, the best that it could possibly be.
And then still always understanding that to get to the next level, you got to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, you do a general phase for a while, very non-specific, well, specific but not specific, a strength phase, then a peaking phase, right?
Yep.
In that general phase, that's the time to really think about what can I do differently?
Right.
What am I willing to try for the next 12 weeks to see where it goes?
Absolutely.
Because, worst case, let's say through that 12-week peak, you only PR 10 kilos instead of 15.
Yeah.
But now when I think about squat, it's not like this.
Right, and even...
This isn't perfect.
Yeah, and even taking that time to spend a little bit more time in the lower percentages, or throwing in some different accessory movements that allow you to think about the lift differently, that can cause a breakthrough in that competition lift.
For sure.
And like
in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Far down the
You'll
road.
reap
Just
those
because,
rewards later.
Yeah, just because you're thinking about it differently, you're approaching that lift differently. That can even just, like I said, thinking about it differently can get you stronger in
For
that
sure.
lift. Even though you may not even look, if you watch the video, it might not look any different than it did before, but just that breakthrough in your mentality might cause strength.
I just have to think fast, or whatever, and it just happens. So that's a huge difference between me and a CrossFitter. So everybody always says, "Oh, you CrossFit?" No, bitch, I don't. Because
is that an insult to you?
Sometimes. It's
depends
more,
on the tone.
It's
right?
ignorance. It really is ignorance. They see me weightlifting and they're like, "Oh, you must be a CrossFitter."
Yeah.
Sorry, bitch. No. So, and I'll say this a couple different ways. So CrossFitters are very much like bodybuilders. They get bored really easily, so it attracts them. And you know what? If you're the type where you just can't find excitement in the nuance, you're better off doing CrossFit and bodybuilding.
I like that, the excitement in the nuance.
Yeah,
that's what
for
you
sure.
need to find,
Because
for
in the
sure.
mundane, the dark days are sometimes the best days. If you're afraid to only think about 3 things every day, or 2 things, or well, for me it's 3 because it's the clean and jerk.
Yep.
If you think that that's boring and you just can't get excited, don't do it at first.
Yeah.
Okay? Use CrossFit and bodybuilding as your general training. And yes, that is me saying that if you're a CrossFitter and a bodybuilder, you're a bitch, okay? Because you can't sit down and actually get good at one thing. You got to keep just spinning your wheels, okay? I mean, CrossFit, we're talking 200 exercises. So, in my opinion, a lot of the CrossFitters I come across, they like CrossFit because it's almost like they can self-doubt themselves, and they can say, well, I'm not great at the deadlift, but I'm good at handstand walks, and I got better at pull-ups, or whatever, where it's almost like they're patting themselves on the back. But even in CrossFit, what does it boil down to? How fucking strong are you?
Right.
How conditioned are you? Not necessarily, can you do 21 handstand push-ups unbroken? That's not necessarily the case. Because maybe that's in one event, but there's however many more events that weekend. So again, I think a lot of people like CrossFit because they can feel sorry for themselves. Like, even though I'm not good at this and I don't really want to spend the time it's going to take, I can get better at something else.
Right. There's, like you said, but that also, you can play that both ways, is since there's so many different things, how can you really get that good at one thing?
Jack of all trades. Yeah.
When you're, jack of all trades, master of none, because you're constantly doing different things.
The 10,000 kicks thing.
Yep. It's hard to do 10,000 kicks at 100 different,
and get good at those, right? So when I watch CrossFit competitions, this last year they did a max out snatch. And they were talking about this guy where it's, his best snatch is 320 coming into it. And I looked and I'm like, this guy weighs about 185 pounds.
Yep.
A 320-pound snatch I don't even think qualifies you for nationals. You're not even good, but they're celebrating that this guy can do 320. Or that, unfortunately, Rich Froning, his biggest thing was always, I can clean and jerk 375.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're a 190-pound competitor. There are people at 160 that are clean and jerking over 400 pounds.
Right.
So again, this guy isn't that good. He's okay. He's mediocre.
Yeah.
When it comes to the actual, just like when it comes to deadlifting and things like that, he pulled 550 pounds. He's 200 pounds. That's bitch weight. What's he doing? So again, I think it's because they like to feel sorry for themselves. But to go back,
do you think you're more of a CrossFit hater since you have?
No, I think I'm more of
I'm
more of an exercise hater, so exercise versus training.
Yes.
A lot of people do
don't
CrossFit.
Don't ever tell me I'm going to work out. I'm going to train.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's how I try to make Alloy feel their group training. But so going back, a CrossFitter comes into a day, let's say Wednesday, walks into class, and on the board it says you're going to snatch your 1 rep max. They haven't thought about it. They have 5 seconds to think about it. They haven't been thinking about it for 12 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do today. And they'll do whatever they can to put a PR on the bar and do it. Where, like I was saying, I spent the last 4 weeks full well knowing, because again, it's in my peaking phase. This isn't the time I want to make a breakthrough mentally.
Right.
But I spent the whole time saying to myself, I'm going to go for a PR. But it has to be like this. Mm-hmm. It's not, fuck it, I feel strong enough and I can whip it over my head and I can do it. Great, whatever. That's not going to necessarily help me. It's got to be within this range of technique. If I make this mistake and I can't fix it as I'm warming up or whatever, the PR isn't worth it to me. Because again, at this point, I'm starting to lift weights where, especially since I do it 5 days a week. So Monday I did 6 snatches at 91%. Wednesday I did 4 snatches at 91, 93, and 95%. Yeah. And then yesterday I did a 95% snatch. So these are weights that I can get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Especially all that volume. So
you need to be mentally there.
Exactly. So there's, plus the build-ups yesterday, I think I did close to 15 snatches and around 90%. Okay, wow. So from 88, let's say, on up.
Right.
About that. Yeah, for sure. Plus, I power snatched, I tied my PR, so that's 100%,
Jeez.
Things like that. Plus, I'm doing clean squats, deadlifts, things like that, all while I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. And again, to me, a PR means something, but it doesn't mean blowing my shoulder up over 3 pounds, 5 pounds.
Yep.
I'll get it next week. Because again, if I can keep my volume really high, where if I'm doing 15 reps at 90% in a week, eventually my PR is going to jump 10 pounds.
Well, that's the thing too, is like you're going to get more work out of staying right beneath that red line and doing a lot of work there than trying to push that line and then getting hurt or, just getting a little bit beat up that would inhibit you from doing work. Because volume, for me, volume trumps everything.
Yeah.
If you can, bring the bar weight down a little bit so that you can get more volume in, that's going to help you a ton more than just working up.
Doubles and triples for powerlifting make you strong. Singles don't.
Right. Yes.
Right, for sure. Unless you're doing 6 sets of 1 or something.
Yes. What I always say is, in the gym, we're building strength. We're not testing strength.
Right. There's a good point. Yeah.
We don't. I mean, it doesn't matter what you hit in the gym. Yeah. Honestly, it does not.
Whatever's
matter.
on the platform.
Yes. Unless you hit it on the platform, what you did in the gym, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that'll gauge for us what we're going to go for on the platform, sure. But if you don't hit it on the platform, then it doesn't really matter what you hit in the gym.
And technically for weightlifting, weightlifting specific, you have to be hitting 100% or close to it. But, again, with this last peaking block, and I'm not even peaking, I mean, technically it's a strength block, but I happen to be maxing out.
Yeah.
And I think for the next 14 weeks, I'm real close into the high 90% again, with a few max out as I go. But for weightlifting, it's really easy technique-wise to be off a little bit. You go into a competition, you get your 3 lifts, and you miss your first one.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, in the past when I've PR'd, it's been 2 or 3 weeks building up to it. My form is just shitty, just all over the place. And when it's, one day out of those 4 max out sessions, everything kind of aligns and I get a PR.
Yep.
So this whole time it's been try to consistently hit at least this number every week.
Right, which is why it's way more important. It's way more important for, I think, weightlifters to spend a lot of time up around that 90%.
For sure.
Because you need to know how that feels like before you get on the platform.
And the speed and 100%.
Right. Whereas for powerlifters, we can get away with spending more time sub-maximal work, doing lots of reps, doing lots of volume, because it's not really going to change that much on the platform.
Right.
So, because the lifts are a little bit more complex, just the speed of the lift and everything changes with more weight on the bar. That's why it pays for you guys to spend more time up there.
Absolutely.
At those 90%.
And for me, it's, again, so my mindset's changed a little bit too with weightlifting. In the past, I would take, this was like 2-3 years ago, I would take 18 attempts at one weight.
Jeez.
I'd miss it 17 times, but I'd get it that 18th time. So I'd beat my head against the wall.
Yeah.
And that 18th rep, then I would consider that my PR. It took me 18 attempts. So yes, I did it.
Right.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now
Real
it's...
world,
You can't do that in competition. No. But that's my, new max, and that's what I set all my percentages off of, and that's how I used to do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you burn yourself up for sure. So this time around, it's 4 weeks in a row. Besides this week, I had a little issue with my snatches. I think out of the 50 or more snatches that I did this week, this month, I've missed less than 5 or 6.
Wow.
So and again,
so your percentage is getting
better.
Better.
So my accuracy, my consistency is so much better. Because again, if I'm going to a competition, I don't want a weight on the bar, let's say it's 92%, and for me to think, am I going to get this?
Yeah,
bitch,
that should be locked in.
This.
That should be a number that you've hit plenty of times that you know for sure.
Plenty of times without missing on the way up.
Yes.
Because that's again, 92% isn't that hard if I can have 15 attempts.
Right.
But if I only get one, it's a big difference.
So let me ask you this. So at like a weightlifting meet, just from hearing that, it's probably a lot more often that lifters will miss.
Bomb out.
Well, even bomb out or even miss in the warm-up room.
Oh, yeah.
And then go out and hit on the platform.
Yeah.
Where in powerlifting, that doesn't happen.
No.
If you miss, then that's
it. You're probably not getting it.
No, yeah. Right. If you miss your last warm-up in the warm-up room, like how are you going to expect to go out there and hit your more weight?
Or if you miss your second attempt on the platform.
Yeah.
How are you going to expect your athlete to go up? Unless it was like a technical miss.
Right.
If you get buried in a squat.
If you miss it on strength, it's very rare.
Right.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't recommend anyone to go up on their next attempt if they miss one on strength. And
unless they need more break and you jump the minimum. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Even having said that, it's rare, but it has happened. It's honestly like super. It like gets me jacked up when someone misses their second on strength and then comes back and gets it on their third.
Right.
It's just like, what? Like that was just pure grit.
Right.
To
just
get through
grind that shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. For weightlifting, the 2017 championship, Wes Kitts, an American lifter.
That's a sweet name.
Wes Kitts. It's an awesome name. So, snatch. He hits his opener. 165 maybe? I don't know. Misses his second attempt, so it's probably around 170. And his whole goal that day was to come and get an American record at 174 or whatever the fuck it was. So he missed 170. Fuck it, put it on the bar. Puts 174 on the bar. Now, what's really interesting with weightlifting and powerlifting is all other sports, and this is not me saying this is someone else, I wish I knew who said it. Michael Phelps jumps into the pool, does his best, swims his ass off. When he's done, they tell him he got a world record because he put the effort in.
Yeah.
A power lifter or a weightlifter.
You know that's a world record
for
before
3 minutes you're stewing.
Yeah.
This is a fucking world record.
Yeah.
So you have to have the balls to go up to it, or lady balls. Do the rep, right?
Yep.
Full well knowing everybody is rooting for you, and a lot of people are rooting against you.
Yep.
Right?
Because their boy has the record.
Yeah, because they don't want you to do it, right? Where, again, you jump into the pool or whatever, track, whatever it is, you'll know at the end. You just try your hardest.
Yeah.
You got to try your hardest with extra stress on you.
I've never thought about it that
You know what I'm saying, though?
Interesting, though, yeah.
You know full well what the fuck is on that bar.
Yeah.
And that can jack people up and that can scare people away.
Yeah.
Or a PR. Mm-hmm. So, again...
You know it's a PR.
Right. A high jumper or a long jumper, they run, they jump as far as they can, they land. Great. You know, you got a personal best. We look at the bar and we're like, I've never done this before.
Yep. Let's give it a shot.
Let's go. Exactly. And that's usually how it goes, is let's give it a shot. Let's try our best. But this is a PR. And again, for some people, that motivates them. For some people like me, it motivates me to the point of true exhaustion. I'll just keep going until I miss.
Yeah.
But since I've gone away from that, I give myself, so let's say I miss, I give myself another attempt, but I'm always videotaping.
Yep.
So if my first attempt is worse than my second attempt, I'll go for a third.
Okay.
But if there's a degradation, I'm not going for it a third time. Yeah, because maybe the bar speed isn't there or whatever. It's not worth going, especially on a snatch. It's really easy to drop it on the back of your neck.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing if you're getting fatigued and your shoulder just gives out or whatever. And do yourself a favor, go look up CrossFit fail videos.
Oh my gosh.
Well, actually, there's this guy that I heard him on Mark Bell's podcast, who was doing a CrossFit competition, lost a snatch behind, didn't get out of the way, so lost a snatch behind, there was like weights stacked on the back side of the platform, the bar bounced off those weights, came back, hit him in the back, paralyzed him from the waist down.
That's why at our USAW cert, they said when you're lifting, there should be nothing on the platform but your bar. Yeah. There shouldn't be a metal plate. There shouldn't be anything.
Even a tiny 5-pound
plate. No, shouldn't be there, because let's say a 5-pound plate is there and you drop bumper plates on it and it jumps at you. Yeah. So you lose it behind. And so for me, when I lose it behind, most of the time it's because either I pulled too much or I'm on the balls of my feet. So it's going behind me and I'm out of the way and I can get away from it. But if, let's say, I'm trying to save it, so I'm at the bottom, I'm holding a squat.
Holding at the bottom. Yep.
And let's say it just slips and it's just coming real close to my back, so it misses me by inches.
Yep.
If it hits that plate and comes shooting at me, it could take my knees out. Yeah. It could take my ankles out. I could fall back, hit the back of my head on the bar, on the platform, whatever. I could hit the jerk blocks behind me because I'm usually lifting pretty close to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're being lazy. Move the shit out of the way. Just have an open area.
Is there an art to ditching a lift?
Yes, but there is also stupidity.
Right.
So I don't know if you saw my Instagram doing the T-Rex.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, it might still be up. Probably not by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah, probably not.
So it was 225 or whatever the fuck I was warming up on. I jerked it, and the clean and the jerk was so easy, so nice, so fluid that instead of just... Because you're supposed to have straight arms when you let go of the bar, whether it's behind or in front. Because straight arms, it's 2 feet away from you when it drops.
Yep.
So it was over my head, and I took my fingers and just pulled down on it to that T-Rex position.
Yeah.
Just because I was being cocky as shit.
Right.
The bar came real close to my face and on the ground, right? Got a picture of the T-Rex.
Yep.
So I've done stupid shit like that where it's bit me. Where I think, I bet I have it on my video. So when I snatched 235, I was proud of myself. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And I knew where the bar was, so I let it go. I have never had a bar come so close to my face before, but I knew where it was. I knew it wasn't going to hit me. But I have it on video where it's like, ooh, that was kind of stupid. My head just barely got out of the way of that. And it's really easy to hit your forehead or something like that.
That'll cut you up, too.
Fuck yeah, those metal bars with knurling will cut you up.
So
I've got a scar, dude.
Jeez.
That was on the way up, though.
Yeah.
So on the way up, the bar came really close and skinned my forehead and ripped some skin off.
So this was probably 3 years ago now. I was doing some push presses.
You were doing push presses.
Yep.
Good for you.
Well, this is when I had just gotten done playing football, so I was still kind of in that athletic mode.
Athletic mode.
Yeah, having abs and all that stuff.
Oh,
being
yeah.
fast. I don't know what that is anymore. But I was doing push presses and I was warming up and I was really, I was working on keeping my head, as neutral as possible.
Yep.
So it's right after the bar gets past my head, then sticking my head through. And it was really lightweight. I think it was 95 pounds.
Yep.
And I was just kind of working on technique. And this first rep of the set, I'm like, all right, I'm going to make these look really fast, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I go to push, don't get my head out of the way, slam the bar right into my chin.
Oh, yeah, bit the shit out of your tongue?
No, I chipped a tooth.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, I chipped
95
a tooth.
moving fast.
Yeah. And I was luckily, this was in our busted ass Concordia St. Paul, student weight rooms, and there was no one ever in there. So I was luckily no one saw that, but I'm like, did I really just do that?
Happens all the fucking time.
I'm
right?
if people would just known what I was doing, it just was did he really just drive the bar?
Dude, it happens a
into
lot.
his
It
chin?
happens a lot, but it'll never happen again, technically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? But that's the problem with weightlifting is most people get hurt when they tell themselves, this is an easy weight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is going to go fast. This is this is that. Bullshit. It's still 95 pounds. You treat it like you treat any other weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure the same shit goes for you when you're squatting 135.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself it's too easy, guess what? You're on your toes. You're this, you're that. It's going to pitch you forward. It's still weight.
Yep.
It's not empty.
Yeah.
Too many people make that mistake. But I've done it on jerks too.
Really?
Where I'm a big jerk, go for it, bite the shit out of my tongue.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't.
Got a big fat chin, I guess. Big old fatty. But no, there's always, for my last cert, they actually taught us and made us go through drills of how to ditch the bar to make sure your arms were straight.
Yeah, and that's why I wonder, because I've never really done those lifts, so I guess I don't know if. Yeah, I mean, you always see, which is kind of I don't really understand it, but it's kind of a weightlifting thing, especially when guys hit a 1 rep max squat PR. They have it all racked. They get it out of the rack. They hit their squat PR and then just dump it off their back.
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
But doesn't that just make it harder to unload the bar?
No. So I don't know if you've ever seen me strip a bar.
No.
I always watch you guys and I'm like, you guys are pussies. Just strip that bar. So there's a technique to stripping a bar. So usually so let's say I did 5 sets of 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Last set, last rep. Rather than putting it in the rack and unloading it, fuck it, throw it on the floor. It's bumper plates. You're not gonna wreck them.
Right.
But I can take all the plates on one side off in one shot, no matter how much it weighs. Just one, because our bars are a certain chrome. They're lubed a certain way. They just slide right off. And then, so the steel inserts that they use for metal plates, they're different than the ones we use on bumper plates or kilo plates. So again, they slide right off. So that's it's actually easier.
Really?
To strip a bar.
I thought it was just kind of a cocky thing to do.
Oh, it's cocky as shit. Fuck yeah, it is. But you know what? So
it does look kind of cool, but at the same time,
yeah.
I was just really you can't take 2 more sets. You just go out just
step
into the rack and rack.
Yeah. That I get. But there is a little. I mean, I'll pat myself on the back. This is why I do it. It's not why I do it, but
this is just what you tell yourself.
This is how I'll argue what I do. So I throw it off of me because I'm practicing what happens when I get stuck.
Right.
Now I know how to ditch it.
Yep.
So front squat's easy, throw it off your shoulders. Back squats, high bar, tricky.
Very hard.
Very tricky to throw off your back.
Well, and
low bar especially.
Low bar is tough because your arms are stuck.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't just let go necessarily.
You can't really just throw it back because you have the risk of having your finger get caught and pulling the bar pulling
or
down.
it catches your lower back.
Yeah. So that's
you get a nice tramp stamp for a while.
Right. And that's why having spotters is good because
fuck a spotter. Yeah. No, I get it. If you're lifting metal, you don't want to drop right. You don't want to drop your weights because there are already signs everywhere saying if you're going to drop your weights, use bumper plates.
Well, I've seen people get, face planted.
Oh, so have I.
Or a bar, roll over their neck.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have this story. In high school, we were doing front squats, and this kid, his name's Wyatt. And he was a good buddy of mine in high school. And he, just a goon, but for whatever reason, so he was doing front squats, and we didn't know how to do them right in
Oh,
high
right.
school, of course.
Crossing your arms.
Cross arms.
Fuck
yep.
you.
Yep. So, and he like failed. He was like gonna fail rep.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, he followed the bar all
Down?
the way to the ground.
What? It probably caught him somehow.
I don't know.
what I'm
May
saying?
have caught like on his elbow.
Yeah, that's why I hate when people cross their arms. You can't ditch the bar.
So it pulled him down. He actually ended up doing a flip, landing underneath the bar on the ground. Like, luckily he didn't like hit his head or anything.
His teeth.
Right.
You know,
but it
smack
had
that bar.
flipped him all the way around, so he was laying on his back with the bar over his chest.
What a
And
bitch!
I was just thankful that I like witnessed that,
Right.
because I was like, this is like
What a bitch!
this is amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
This
But
is
again,
amazing.
so
but again, we were never taught how
Right.
to ditch a bar.
Right.
Ignorance is it's
Killer.
Yeah,
It's a killer, man.
because he didn't know.
No.
Well, and he should have had maybe the safety racks up too, but
You know, when it comes to front squats, no, I don't like safety rack.
Really?
I don't like anything around me.
Yeah.
So like a spotter, if you even breathe on my bar, I am going to shove a plate up your ass.
Really?
Get the fuck away from me. Well, safety thing.
that's so opposite to
Well, for me, it's a safety
everything.
thing. If you're too close to me and I do have to ditch the bar,
See-
I don't give a fuck about your life.
See, but
It's gone.
have you ever lifted with someone that you trust to spot you?
Who
that way?
trusts anybody? Yes, I have. Yes,
Okay.
I have. I have been spotted by good spotters too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I found that when the going gets tough,
You don't want to depend on anyone else.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, let's say I'm going for a squat PR and I get buried. Most of the time, if I get buried, spotter's not going to pick me up because
Right.
I squat really low.
Mhm.
So get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to throw it off my back. I mean,
see, to that I would say that's why we have side spotters as well.
fuck a side spotter. I don't give a shit. You know what? Get out of my way. I'm not doing
Don't
a
listen.
powerlifting competition.
Don't listen
Right.
to
I'm not
it.
doing a powerlifting competition. I'm squatting on bitch ass bumper plates.
That's
And-
true. You have bumper plates.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always been if I get stuck, ditch it. You know, or I'm really good at grinding out reps.
Mm-hmm.
So very seldomly do I ever miss a squat or a pull or anything like
Yeah.
that. But if everybody knows when they're failing.
Mm-hmm.
You give it all you've got, and then all of a sudden you feel you're not overpowering the bar. It's starting to win.
Yep.
And when that happens, I want to ditch it. Because
Yeah.
if it buries me into the squat, I'm not ready to get back down there. So I'm going to be loose.
Yeah.
That's when shit goes wrong.
Yep.
But again, I love bumper plates. I love teaching people on bumper plates.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to be in and around them. You know, if you can't squat over 400 pounds, use bumper plates. I don't give a
Right.
shit. You know, get
Well, yeah,
comfortable by yourself.
Right. Well, and for us, it's so us. I mean, powerlifters.
Mhm.
It's so different because one, I don't recommend people training with bumper plates because
Yeah.
it feels a lot different than metal plates.
100%. 100%.
Because the load is a little bit further out
for
on the
sure.
bar, so it doesn't transfer well to a plat. To
Yeah, and the
plastic.
bar bends a little differently
Yep,
too.
yep.
I mean, if you got 405 on a bar, that in bumper plates, that sucker is going to be an M
Yeah.
or an N rather.
Well, it's going to be pretty
Upside
much.
down.
They're going to be stacked out to the end.
Oh yeah,
you know
end
what
of
I
the
mean?
collars, and again, so even the bar I use is a very whippy bar, so it's very flexible.
Right.
So when I do squats, it literally, so for you, the plates are in line with your shoulders.
Yep.
Mine, especially not me, but some of the guys who are squatting 600 pounds or whatever
Yeah.
with bumpers, it almost looks like the plates are under their armpits.
Yeah.
Like they're really low, like a
Right,
cartoon.
which is why a
almost.
lot of time, like you can see a lot of guys like that who play the whip to the lift.
100%.
That's why a lot of guys who squat with bumper plates, they'll really kind of ramp down to the hole, bounce hard, and then time that whip of the bar, the bend of the bar, with their ascent.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, because
So-
the bar, when it bounces back, it carries you up.
Yep.
Now, if you're doing a clean, you need to learn that whip.
Right.
Because if you try to fight that whip, it's now 300 pounds punching you in the chest.
Yes, it can go one way or the other.
Ooh,
That's
it can
for sure.
bury your ass.
Now, is that why a lot of times when people come up from their clean, they kind of sit there and let the bar settle a little bit before they go into
Yes,
their
yeah. So, because what they also need to do is they'll let it bounce, but they can't, to the judges, make it look like they're bouncing the bar on purpose.
Right.
Because that oscillation will help you do a
help you
jerk.
get that.
That's totally against the rules. Just like when you're adjusting your hands, you can't do a dip-like motion.
Where you dip and then
Yeah, exactly, because that looks like you're attempting a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Yep.
So now there's a little leeway coming out of the bottom.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
if you know, like a finger's out, you can kind of get away
it's
with it.
judge's discretion.
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point.
But if they catch you trying to oscillate that bar, learning that bounce so that you can use the
time
whip,
it, yeah.
no go.
Because, I mean, well, it's the same concept when you're doing a normal back squat.
Yeah.
And you unrack it and you do your walkout. You usually want to stand there for a second or
Wait,
two.
yeah.
And let the weight settle on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure everything's tight and still before you start your descent.
And
because if you walk out too fast, the bar's moving around, and then you start your squat. I mean, it's going to
perfect time for it to roll up your neck.
Right, it's going to be mayhem from the start.
And also, so when I'm doing back squats, I let it oscillate a little because, again, I'm trying to teach myself worst case scenario clean.
Right.
Some shit goes wrong, you get buried, you still got to suck it up, go. You know, that kind of thing. So for me, it's true leg strength, I guess is what I would say, is when the shit hits the fan, you're fine. But for you, it's if it bounces a little bit, your proprioception is off. You're not actually aware of where that bar is.
Yeah, it throws you off big time.
Exactly. It needs to be dead stopped for you to do a PR.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like I mentioned before, when you go down, you hit the hole, that bar is going to whip because it's going from moving to not moving.
Yeah.
And then you try to change directions. If you get that whip that comes down, it bounces again halfway through your ascent, that can totally
especially at your
off.
Sticking point.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where sticking points gets
Which is why, one of the reasons why I have my own personal bar.
Yeah.
That's a power bar, which the tensile strength is a lot higher, so it bends at a lot higher weight. So,
yeah. Oh, for sure. So then I would say, so it's not your, USAPL doesn't use a Texas bar.
No, they
right?
don't. Yeah.
Where it adds the whip into it. So
right,
when
for
you're
deadlifts,
deadlifting, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for
you can
sure.
use that whip.
So actually, there's this guy. He actually just won the 93 kilo national championship. His name's David Wolson, and I can't remember what his deadlift was at nationals, but he was just messing around last week after nationals and ended up hitting. He was pulling on a deadlift bar and hit like 50 pounds higher than he ever pulled on a stiff bar. So, and you can kind of look at that either way. One, it's some people say, "Oh, deadlift bar is cheating," but I think it's just kind of more fun. So, and it's because for people who don't know, there are different federations in powerlifting. There's the two most popular ones are the USAPL, which is USA Powerlifting is what it stands for, and then the USPA, which is the US Powerlifting Association.
Which isn't IPF.
Correct. The USAPL is IPF, the USPA is not.
Yeah, so there's no international competition.
Right. So the USPA, they use 3 different bars for all the lifts. For the squat, they use a squat bar, which is a foot longer than the normal bar, and it's thicker.
Yep.
And it's 55 pounds instead
right.
of 45 pounds. For the bench, they use a normal power bar, and then for the deadlift, they use a deadlift bar.
Yeah.
In the USAPL, we use the same bar for all 3 lifts, and it's a stiff,
20 kilo stiff.
Yep,
yeah,
and it's a stiff powerlifting bar.
Yeah, it's 29.5 millimeter.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the same bar, but I would say with the Texas bar, you might be able to overload it a little differently.
And it's
technically having an extra 50 pounds could work your grip strength a little more.
Yeah.
There's
absolutely.
some benefits to it for sure.
Right, and it's I mean, I don't really care. Like because you got equip lifting, which allows so there's
you wear a suit that helps you double your squat.
Yeah, I mean, that's why powerlifting it's kind of tough for a newcomer to really understand all that stuff because there's different federations that have different rules and there's different types of powerlifting and so on, but it's just interesting how, and the reason most people can lift more from a deadlift bar is because it has that intentional whip.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the bar is laying on the ground, right? So when no one's pulling on it yet, the bar is laying on the ground, all the weights are on the ground. you start pulling from the middle of that bar and there's that much whip, not all of the weights, not all of the 45-pound plates are going to come off at the same time.
Yeah, you get to accelerate.
So you're getting a gradual loading of the bar.
Yeah, it has to be about mid-shin before all the plates are up.
Right.
So you get an acceleration.
Right.
So
obviously depending on how much weight you're lifting.
But let's say you're deadlifting 1,000 pounds. It's not 1,000 pounds from the floor.
Exactly.
It's maybe 315 from the floor. Then it's 500.
Right,
then
and
it's
every
700.
quarter inch, it's obviously getting incrementally
Yeah, you get to
heavier.
accelerate into it.
But if you think about that, once you get 3-4 inches up your shin, that's a more advantageous position to lifting more weight.
For sure.
So it's gradually loading, which is helping because you're not getting stonewalled by all that weight at one time. And then also as you're coming up, you're in a better and better position to lift more weight. So it just kind of amplifies the amount of weight that you're able to lift.
Nothing hurts more than a PR deadlift, not a Texas bar. And you got to pull all of it now.
Yeah.
You have to go 0 to 60 now.
So my first meet, before my first meet, I was training at this gym, downtown gym.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't have any stiff bars. And this was, I didn't even realize that there was stiff bars at the meet. Like I just didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? Again, ignorance.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was pulling on this bar that had a little bit of whip. It wasn't a deadlift bar, but
still,
it had a little bit of whip.
Probably a weightlifting bar.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. But it was an old bar that was sitting in there and it had decent knurling on it. So I'm like, hey, I'll just pull on this, I guess. So I was training on that for the entire prep leading up to the meet. And so again, I was getting a little bit of that whip for all of my training, so I was used to that. So I get to the meet, and my first deadlift, which is a weight that I've tripled before, I go to pull it, there's no bend, man.
Right.
There's, like you said,
dead stiff,
0 to 100. That weight is there right now.
Right now.
So I was like, holy
Took more
cow.
energy than you thought.
Yeah, I'm like, this is different. Big time.
Right.
So then I adjusted my attempts a little bit in order to kind of combat that. But right after that, I ordered a step
for sure
for training because
for sure.
I'm like, that was a huge difference, and it affected because obviously if you're training with that for so long, your numbers in your head, what you think you're hitting is a little bit inflated.
And how it feels.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, my PR it hurts, but it doesn't hurt. Then you pull it on a bar. A stiff bar.
Yes. Yes.
So let's talk beginners.
Okay.
So, for powerlifting, there's raw, unassisted. There's raw you can use. So raw means it's you, some shoes, and a belt, basically, and knee sleeves.
Yes.
Fine. Knee
sleeves.
Yeah.
Sleeves.
Yeah, the things you stretch over your leg a little bit.
Yes.
I think it's a certain millimeter too.
Yep, they can only
7?
be so thick.
Yeah.
And it's
there's let's just say a belt and shoes, okay? With fine
because
knee
sleeves don't give you any weight anyway.
Yeah, none. Yeah. They just keep your knees warm apparently.
Right.
I mean, every weightlifter in the world uses sleeves. I own the really nice Reband sleeves. They were a gift to me. I don't wear them at all.
It's mostly a placebo effect.
Yeah, I think so too. Mm-hmm. They smell like a fucking armpit after a day.
Horrid.
No matter what you do, they keep your knees warm. I will say that if you're gonna have a grinder of a squat day, knee sleeves won't be a bad thing.
For me, it helped with I had some patellar tendonitis.
Oh yeah.
Which it helped with.
Keeps everything loose. Yeah. So again, there's raw. Then there's raw, but you can use knee wraps, where it's like a wrist wrap, but for your knees.
Right.
By the way, for raw, you can't have wrist wraps.
Yes.
Yeah.
For normal raw, you can have wrist wraps.
Yeah, for your bench and your squat, and you're best off using them.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a length limit?
Yes. 1 meter.
1 meter. Okay, so basically anything you buy at Shields, that's raw. You can't. You can buy knee wraps at Shields, but you can't buy gear or suits. But then there's
there's raw.
Yep.
And then the next is raw with wraps.
Yep.
And knee wraps are different because knee wraps, I believe they can be 3 meters long.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And again, this differs between federations.
Right.
So
But I think USAPL.
USAPL, it's only raw or equipped.
Yeah, yeah.
So anytime you put knee wraps on in the USAPL, you are technically equipped.
Yeah.
If we're talking USPA, then it's raw, classic raw, which is, like we said, shoes, belts, wrist wraps, knee sleeves. Then there's raw with wraps, which is all of those things, but with knee wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never squatted with knee wraps, some people can get up to 100 pounds on their squat with knee wraps.
It's basically like a bungee cord you wrap around your knees.
Think about a knee sleeve.
Yeah.
3 meters long, and you wrap that as tight as you can around your knee.
You can just
a wrist wrap.
Yeah.
3 meters long that you can wrap.
You can just
your knee.
barely bend your knees.
Yep.
You squat into the wraps, so you're purposefully trying to stretch them.
Yeah,
and then out of the bottom, that intense stretching that hurts like a son of a bitch around your knees.
Yep.
It kind of recoils, rebounds, and you're coming up a lot faster.
And what's interesting about that is the amount of weight that people get from their wraps, it kind of depends on your squat technique.
Yeah.
Because if you're a high bar guy who has a lot of forward knee travel, you're gonna get more out of the knee wrap because you're pushing more into it.
Right.
Whereas if you're a low bar guy who doesn't necessarily have that much knee bend in the bottom of their squat, then you're not necessarily going to get as much out of those wraps.
And in my opinion, so wrist wraps are there to help support and brace your wrist so you can get the most out of your chest.
Correct.
So that you can make your pushing muscles and mechanic stronger.
Mm-hmm.
When you put the wraps on your knees, you're not actually working your legs more.
Right.
The inanimate object is assisting your lift. It's not that you putting that extra 100 pounds on is making your legs stronger.
So think about when most people's weakest point of their squat is in the hole.
100%.
Because that's where your quad is at its most stretched, right? So there's a lot less overlap in those muscle fibers.
Yeah.
And that's just where you're going to be able to handle the least amount of weight. When you put wraps on, they kind of cover that for you.
Yeah.
So you're able to handle more weight in the hole, and then that carries you up halfway through.
It literally will launch you to where your quads are at a better advantage.
So it's more like doing a pin squat.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Where you're starting halfway.
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent. Obviously.
You're still getting the rebound in your hips.
Yes.
A little bit. But again, you're putting so much emphasis into those wraps that, again, the wraps are doing so much of the extra work, not your body.
And I'm not against them at all.
No.
They're actually...
it's like a slingshot. It helps you put a little extra weight on the bar.
Right.
So that
they are fun to lift in.
Oh, yeah. You can set a PR.
So fun. Yeah.
You know?
And like I said, USPA they have a division for that. So if that's something that you like to do, then you go into USPA.
Yeah, if your goal is, I don't give a shit, I want to have the biggest squat possible, you want to wear knee wraps, a suit so these suits for geared powerlifting, you literally sit into the suit, and this suit it's called a polyply.
Yep.
It's very thick. It's like an extra layer of muscle on you that stores energy. That plus your knee wraps, you can get hundreds of pounds out of it.
Yep.
Hundreds.
Yes.
So again, if your goal is just to squat the most, fine. But if you want to be strong, you want the least amount of gear possible.
Right. So just to go back, we have raw, classic raw. Then we have raw with wraps, which we just talked about. And then the next level up, or the next division, is equipped lifting. So equipped lifting, like Josh had mentioned, you wear a squat suit and a bench shirt, and sometimes a deadlift suit, depending on preference. So the squat suit it looks like a singlet.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why it's kind of tough for people to tell who are new to the sport. They're like, holy crap, this guy just squatted 900 pounds.
Or 11.
At 200 pound body weight. Like, that's nuts. But sometimes those guys are wearing these suits, which are very thick. I'd say, so there's the way you decipher the different levels, because there's different level of suits. There's single ply and there's multi-ply. So there's single ply, which are the thinnest suits.
Yeah, they help you a little.
A little bit, yep. So there's single ply, which is allowed in USAPL, but there's no multiply allowed in USAPL. But USPA allows multiply, and those are nutty.
They're so thick.
Yeah, so
they're like
jeans.
Said,
right. So these things are so tight and so thick, you would not be able to get halfway down in your squat without any weight on your back.
Oh yeah,
just
you need a ton of weight. Yeah,
air squat you would not be able to get.
There are some people with 800 pounds, they still can't break parallel, which is sad.
Which is crazy because I mean, you almost have to work and pull the bar down to get to depth, especially in the bench press.
Yeah,
a lot of
with
people,
those shirts.
Yep, they are pulling the weight down so they can actually get to their chest.
Right,
and then they press it up. So, I actually got exposed to powerlifting when this was very popular back in the early 2010.
10-ish.
Yeah, it was like 2007 to 2012 is when this was popular. And that's when I was at first exposed to powerlifting. And so that's all we did. Mm-hmm. And I never did it because I was like in 8th, 9th grade.
Right, you didn't have the money to buy the suit.
My older brother was into it, and they had this whole powerlifting team, and I actually side spotted a guy squatting 900 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in 8th grade.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do if this goes wrong?
Yeah, nothing. Put it on your shoulder and pray.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting because I almost had these two different experiences with the same sport. But I like to think of them as different sports.
Oh, for sure.
Within powerlifting itself.
Right.
Because the technique that you need for equipped lifting is so different.
Oh yeah.
The training is different. It's all so different that I don't even like to think about it as the same sport.
Right.
And lately there's kind of a lot of equipped lifting hate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
still have to be strong.
Oh, for sure.
Squatting an 1,100 pound squat, which I think is the single ply record right now, somewhere in the 11s.
Yeah, Blaine Sumner.
Yeah. He can still raw squat
over 800
pounds. Yeah, so he's still strong.
Right.
But I mean, my argument is always, at what point are they going to come in with bionic legs?
Yeah.
Bionic hips?
Right.
Just watch me turn myself into a part robot and squat 3,000 pounds.
Which is
hydraulic legs.
It's kind of funny you mention that because that's actually one of the reasons that Blaine Sumner lifts equipped.
Yeah.
Because he has had a lot of hip issues. He squatted over 1,000 pounds with 2 torn hip labrums.
Oof.
So the suit allowed him to still compete and perform a squat.
Yeah, because it does some of the job of the hips.
Right, because he's able to sit into it and the hip labrum isn't necessarily needed as much.
Right.
So, and some people actually say that lifting equipped will lead to more longevity in the sport.
Possibly. Yeah, the suit's taking that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's less wear and tear on your joints and yada, yada, yada. But that... I don't think, that remains to be seen.
Right. My opinion on that is, let's say raw, you can squat 500 pounds. In a suit, you're squatting 7.
Right.
How much less wear and tear are you taking at 700 pounds with the suit?
I don't think your spine knows any different.
Yeah, I think the compression on your back is, that suit's not doing anything for you.
But so just so people know, so when you see a video and it looks a little different, like the squat form looks weird.
Yeah, like they're sitting way back.
Yep, and their feet are super, super wide. Mm-hmm. That person might be in a suit.
Right.
And also, bench shirts look really weird too, because your arms are hanging out straight in front of you. You look like Frankenstein walking around.
Because they're so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and honestly, I think that, like I said, back then, equipped lifting was huge.
Huge.
You go to a meet, there was maybe 1 or 2 raw lifters, everyone else was equipped.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's the complete opposite, which I think is one of the reasons that powerlifting has gotten popular, because raw lifting is just much more relatable to the average person.
And, CrossFit has helped that.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of CrossFitters coming into powerlifting, they don't want to put on a suit because, again, CrossFitters are thinking to themselves, no, I want to use my body, not use some piece of equipment.
Yep.
There are a lot of CrossFitters out there that refuse to use wrist wraps, belts.
Everything.
I've seen, Olympic gold medalists clean and jerk 500 pounds without a belt. It's doable.
Yeah.
I always and Joel's the same way. And I'm sure you are too. A belt is more of like a just in case what the I just wear a wimpy Velcro belt and I only somewhat tighten it. It's not, blindingly tight.
Right.
It's there in case I get buried into a squat. Maybe I am doing a front squat that's a little too heavy. I clean, maybe I'm a little too tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I turtle shell a little bit where I round my upper back. Or maybe on a jerk, I put it in the wrong position and my spine takes a little extra load.
Yep.
But to do it without, I used to. It's not necessarily a comfort, but it's a just in case.
Yeah. So my view on a belt is it's allowing you to brace your core harder, which is supplying you with more structural integrity through your body.
Right.
Because if we're talking a squat, what you want to do is transfer the power from the ground through your legs, through your core,
into the bar. Mm-hmm.
And the weak part of that whole sequence usually is your core.
Yeah.
So if you strap a belt on, you're able to take in more air, push against the belt, really make sure everything is structurally tight.
Right.
So you can allow for the most efficient transfer of power from your legs into the bar.
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't know this. So around your belly button, that's about the only place in that whole system that isn't bony.
Yes.
Right? Your hips are bony, your legs are bony, everything's
your ribs
bony.
are bony.
Exactly.
Right underneath your ribs, though.
And that's why you put a belt on, is that's the softest part of your body, even though you might have a six-pack, whatever. You put this...
Freaking shredded,
right,
bro.
Right, I'm shredded. You put this belt on to kind of just complete the system.
Yep.
Right, to make sure everything... belts have been used since the Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings, thousands of years ago, were using belts to lift shit. So it's not anything new.
And it's also not... I hate the mindset of, you're weak if you lift with a belt.
Right. Again, I lifted without a belt for 2-3 years. It was until I clean and jerked over 300 pounds. I'm like, probably should use a belt.
Well, and sometimes I'll prescribe lifters with beltless work.
Oh, yeah.
Just to throw something new in there and kind of help if a lifter has an issue with bracing or getting tight, then I'll have them do it without a belt so they can feel it a little bit more. And once they throw the belt on, they'll be that much better at it. But it's not a weak thing to use a belt.
No. For a weightlifter, I don't snatch with a belt. So, I'm still racking 250 pounds over my head and doing an overhead squat without a belt.
Yeah.
So, my core is fine.
Yeah.
It's, again, for a weightlifter, it's a just in case, it gives you just a little bit more gas. For a power lifter, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Especially if you're low bar squatting.
Yeah.
You're deadlifting weights in a traditional style, for sure you want it. Sumo, some people I've seen without. But again, it all comes down to if you get pitched over at all, you're in trouble.
Right.
So again, for a beginner, you should probably start raw.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't just jump into equipped and be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. No.
And the thing about equipped is it's kind of like an old boys club.
Yeah.
Where anyone who's lifting equipped has been powerlifting for probably at least 5 years. Most likely 10,
I was going to say 10, 15.
10 most of them 10.
Yeah.
And so if someone walks into a powerlifting gym and says, hey, I want to bench with a shirt, they're going to be like, heck no.
Right.
You got to bench for years raw before you even think about putting a shirt on.
Do a bench double body weight, and then we can talk about a shirt.
Right.
Squat 2.5 your body weight, deadlift triple your body weight. Okay, now let's talk equipped.
Yeah.
Let's get some basic. And and that's so true. For a brand new person to powerlifting or somebody that was laid off for a long time, how many times a week would you recommend that they do powerlifting?
So are they training for powerlifting, or is it just kind of like a thing that they like doing?
Let's talk both. So person who has never ever worked out before, brand new, and somebody who is just laid off.
So for someone who has never done it before, I would just do each lift 1 day a week.
Yeah, so like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yep. And then maybe throw some more accessory type stuff in there.
Yeah, the general shit.
The general stuff.
Yeah, keep it fun.
Yes, especially for a new lifter, you need to make sure that those general boxes are checked before you get really specific.
Yeah, and you can get away with once a week lifting for months.
Oh, and why would you? So if you throw them into once a week and they're seeing progress, I wouldn't even give them more frequency until that progress slows.
Oh, for sure.
Because what you want to do is you want to be able to see gains with the least amount of work.
Yeah.
Get the biggest bang for your buck for doing the least amount of work. So if you're seeing progress, benching 1 day a week, your
Right.
bench is still going up. Why would we have you bench more than that?
Or if you can do squat, bench, deadlift, and then maybe one other workout that week or a second workout that week, and you're spending, let's say, an hour to 90 minutes in the gym, and that's giving you results for 8 months, don't be one of the guys that within the first 6 months, they get obsessed and
they try to
3-hour
do
workouts.
and
Yeah, oh my gosh. I got a buddy, he probably, Ford, I'm talking to you, bitch.
Ford, I love you, man.
So he injured his hand, so he did the Smoloff program.
Yep.
Fine. Okay, he did a modified Smoloff, but the Smoloff program was designed for powerlifters that have done it for 15 years, that they haven't seen progress in their squat in phases, multiple peaks, they haven't seen it. So they do this 4 times a week squat program, most likely on steroids too.
Right.
And just hammer their body.
Just to break through
that plateau.
Yeah.
Great, okay? But again, for the general athlete, a CrossFitter, let's say, I've heard of a lot of CrossFitters, so when we used to have it at the gym, they would do CrossFit and then do Smoloff after, or they'd do it first.
Absolutely insane.
That's insane because their volume is so high at that point.
Granted, someone who does that, they will see a ton of progress because their volume load is that much higher. Your body has no choice but to adapt and get stronger. But you have to balance that with, okay, is this sustainable? No. And are you going to get hurt?
Yes,
exactly.
Most likely. Especially with CrossFit. Again, you go in and the most, 19 out of 20 workouts is to the maximum.
Right.
You are trying to fit as much work density in in as short a period of time as possible, or they give you a period of time and you're trying to just kill yourself. So you're pushing it to the absolute max, already risking so many injuries, and now you want to do such a high level squat program first. Again, as a newbie, that's not a good idea. No.
I honestly wouldn't recommend that for anybody. I don't care.
No, me neither. Again, unless you're on steroids, that's going to be tough.
Right.
So he recommends squat once a week, bench once a week, and deadlift once a week. For weightlifting, before you even think you want to do a snatch, clean and jerk, before you do any of this shit.
You're saying the first day I ever walk into the gym, I shouldn't do a snatch?
Oh, you mean CrossFit? Let me tell you a scenario that happens all too often. First day.
Dude, we are just ragging on CrossFit.
Fuck yeah, and I will. You know what, CrossFitters? If you want to walk up to me and say, Josh, you're a little bitch, I'm going to look into your eyes and I'm just going to say, you're probably right, but CrossFit still sucks.
You should. So if that happens, I want you to record the debate.
Fuck yeah.
And then we'll throw it up on the podcast.
Yes, we will. I don't care how big you are.
So just a disclaimer for everyone, I don't hate CrossFit that much. And
if it weren't for CrossFit, I'd have never gotten into weightlifting.
Well, and I think we're kind of being more ironic about hating CrossFit.
I hate CrossFit in my local area.
Okay.
And the reason is I've met most of the coaches. I've talked to most of the coaches.
That's the thing that gives CrossFit a bad name.
Yeah.
Are bad coaches.
Local coaches that have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
5x5 can work. 5 sets of 5. It can work.
Yeah.
Okay? You know what? If you're a newbie and you're doing 5 sets of 5, more power to you. 3 times a week, you're going to squat. You're going to learn really well. You're going to bench once, maybe twice a week. Deadlift once, maybe twice a week. Great. You know what? Great. But if 11 out of 12 months in your CrossFit program, you're doing 5 sets of 5, and you're doing it on everything, from snatch to clean and jerk to deadlift to bench, you just don't understand even the basic fundamental principles. And you suck as a coach. And I'm glad you're not my coach. All right? That's what I'm saying. All right? So, with CrossFit, to finish that CrossFit, here's why I hate CrossFit. First day you walk into the gym. There's a good CrossFit gym, bad CrossFit gym. Here's a good CrossFit gym. Hey, we're doing this thing called Isabel, which means I'm going to ask most of the athletes around you to snatch a certain weight. For men, 135 pounds. For women, I think it's 95. I want you to snatch it 30 times as fast as you can. Now, a good coach will explain to the athlete, this is what they're doing. They've snatched countless times. They know what the snatch is. They don't necessarily need me to watch per se. I might be able to just adjust them a little bit, but basically they're good enough I can just let them go. Mm-hmm. For you, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do 30 overhead squats if you can. Maybe it's going to be front squats, whatever. But we're going to see if you can do 30 overhead squats. And they'll still be going because you'll be able to do it faster. Maybe we'll do 15 overhead squats, 15 snatch balances, whatever. We want you to just learn what it's like to be in that position.
Right.
Great.
That's a good coach.
Bad CrossFit coach. Let's go. Here's what the snatch looks like. Here's what the snatch looks like. Go, motherfucker.
Do it.
Now, that's the worst case scenario. Some coaches fall in the middle and they're like, we're going to do it from the knee position, which in my opinion, doing anything from the knee position, that's weeks ahead already.
Yeah.
Again, I like that idea of you're going to do overhead squats, or maybe there's an exercise called the muscle snatch, where it's basically just learning how to pull it over your head using your legs a little bit. I'm good if you want to put that newbie with the bar at their hip and teach them, this is what I want you to do 30 times. Just get really comfortable. And we're going to put a 10-pound bar in your hand.
I was going to say 10-pound bar or a PVC pipe.
I don't like PVC pipes because you can get away with so much ugliness.
Right.
I like the 5 kilo technique bars. They're 11 pounds. If you can't lift 11 pounds, you shouldn't be doing this yet.
Right.
Even children can lift 11 pounds. So again, it's, I want you to do 30 muscle snatches from this position, or maybe 15.
Yep.
And I want you to do 15 overhead squats. There's your Isabel for the day.
And I don't care. I mean, even me doing that, I would feel that a little bit.
Yeah.
Even 10 pounds doing that over my head 30 times. Oh my gosh. I would feel it.
Do anything 30 times.
Right.
And again,
whereas with the PVC pipe, I'd be kind of just flopping.
Exactly. Yeah. Even broomsticks. I like steel dowels.
Yep.
Where they're 12 pounds, or I'll use stuff like that. But again, a good CrossFit coach will say, "Hey, you're still kind of doing it." But again, remember, a good coach explains first.
Yes.
A bad coach argues after.
Yes.
That's my opinion. So a good coach at the beginning of class will say, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, and for those of you who are able to do it, here's what you're going to do. For those of you who aren't very comfortable, here's what you're going to do. And say, this is why you're doing it, because this movement is, the muscle snatch is the most important part for you to understand. How to link using your legs at the same time you pull, and where that bar goes over your head.
Yep.
Then we're going to overhead squat, because that's the next step. And you're going to do that again and again. If you do 40 reps, fine. Take breaks. This isn't a race. You're going to be shot tomorrow no matter what. Yes, it's going to be very tempting to do what everybody else around you is doing. And you know what? In a month or two, you will be doing it. Mm-hmm. Great. Bad coach is, I'm lazy as fuck. Here's what a snatch looks like. Go. Here's the worst CrossFit coach I've ever seen. You're doing Isabel. I'm going to do it with you. So the coach isn't even watching. And that happens, I think right now, in 3 CrossFit gyms in the area.
Really?
Yeah, where the coach actually works out with you. I despise that. You're not a coach at that point. You're a friend.
It'd be one thing if it was a one-on-one thing, if you were working with one client.
Yeah, but it's not their first day.
If you have, right. If you have 10, 15 athletes in there and you're lifting with them,
right.
What are you doing?
Right. No.
You're getting paid to lift. You're not coaching at that point.
No. Now, when it comes to a group setting, there are times when the coach can work out with the athletes, where we're going to push a sled today. We're going to carry sandbags, where the skill level is super low. Go for it.
So I worked with high school athletes with my boy Isaiah McBride.
Yeah.
And it was getting towards the end of the summer, and we were working with this high school soccer team and girls soccer, and I think it was actually like their last day. So we wanted to have fun, but also get a good workout, like the last half of the workout. Yeah. So what we did was a sled push relay race. Ooh. So it was, down, we split up into teams, and it was just basically down, back, switch. One person, switch. We had 3 different teams. And so we're dividing it all up, and one team is one person short.
Ooh. So
my
jumps in.
My boy Isaiah looks at me, he's like, "Hey Cole, you want to hop in here?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to hop in here."
Right.
So the first time we go, And these were basically empty sleds because we just wanted to sprint, go fast, right? The first time we go, I absolutely annihilate. And my team was like way behind. And then when I went, we ended up winning.
Oh, yeah, the anchor.
Right.
Because you know how to push it.
Oh, yeah. So then Isaiah's like, okay, well, we got to do something about this. So we start the next heat. And when I come up, he jumps on the sled.
Yeah.
And he is 235 pounds, I think. And keep in mind, I was like full meat prep, like the smallest amount of cardio that I could, like, I would drive 50 feet before I'd walk 50 feet.
Right, for sure, yeah.
So, like, I need to recover for my next workout.
At the couch to watch TV because it's too far to the kitchen table.
Exactly. I am the bare minimum that I can do.
Right.
And so that's where I was conditioning wise at this point when I did this.
Give it to Katie when you're done. It'll be hers.
Thanks, my man. My boy Josh just gave me another water bottle.
Well, Katie needs one too.
She does. Anyway, so he jumps on the sled.
Mm-hmm.
And this was probably 20 yards down, 20 yards back. Mm-hmm. So it was decent. That's a decent distance.
Oh, fuck yeah. Especially with the weighted sled.
Right. And so the first one, with him on it, it slowed me down to like what the girls were doing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is good, but I had to work, man. Like, but I'm so competitive. I don't care if these are high school girls.
Fuck this, I'm gonna win.
Yes, I'm gonna beat them.
For sure.
I love it. So the first one went all right. I'm like, geez, like that was tough, but you know. And then so we did one more heat, and this time he did the same thing. But after this second one, like right afterwards, I was like,
gassed.
Man, like I don't feel so hot.
Right?
So like, and I haven't done sled pushes since high school. Like serious.
Right.
Like I'd done one or two here or there, but I'd never done them seriously for like years. So like, I get done, I'm like, whew. Like that was tough, and then I'm like slowly getting a little bit of like queasy.
That blood sugar of yours just dropped.
Keep in mind, I'm a coach here.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't let these.
You gotta play this off,
like,
man.
Are you kidding me? I'm like, hey Isaiah, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom.
Right. That's terrible.
Dude, I was in the bathroom for probably like 15 minutes, just sitting on the toilet, trying to like, cause I was like overheating. Right. I was like feeling queasy. I was like flushed. I was really hot. Like it was like bad.
That's your threshold.
And then at the same time,
you hit your threshold because you work so hard.
And then at the same time, I was so embarrassed.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Because I mean, I'm an athlete. I was like, I did 2 sled pushes, and I'm ready.
But you were ice cold too.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't warm up. I'm standing around coaching all day. But I was like, I was so embarrassed.
But you worked so hard.
Yeah.
Right. But again,
But Isaiah takes credit.
Right.
For that because I went on and had like a great meet 2 weeks later. He's like, those sled pushes probably put your peak over the edge so you could have a great meet.
Fuck yeah. Your capacity was there.
So shout out Isaiah for that.
Right. So CrossFit, that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
So the best of the best CrossFit coaches still train your capacity. Now CrossFit is so about endurance and pacing it perfectly and knowing the events ahead of time and picking the ones that you're going to win, picking the ones where you're going to kind of slack.
It's much more of a chess game.
It really is now. It used to be, and that's kind of where CrossFit's going back to now. It used to be a fitness program to push that 10-second interval, the sled push, to kill yourself. Then to have your minute intervals and 10-minute rounds.
It was almost like, we are going to push you so hard that we want people to quit and we want to see who can withstand the most.
Exactly. The original workouts of like Fran, it ended up being 45 pull-ups, 45 thrusters. Even if you're doing the fish flapping butterfly pull-ups, you're doing so much work in such a short period of time. I did it in my fastest, 3 minutes and whatever, which isn't great because I've seen people do it in like a minute, but still 3 minutes is still fast.
Yeah.
I laid on the ground for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it pushed my capacity
so far.
And
that's exactly where I was after those sled pushes.
But that's, so capacity training is where CrossFit kind of went away from. It's in 12 minutes, how many rounds can you do, but safely, and this, that, and the other thing.
So
it's not, I want you to do a 20-second burst, all out, kill yourself.
So this is where I think it has become that. I think it's totally been a top-down. So it's from the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Just because they want to do what they can to win.
Right.
Because the purse has gone up every single year.
Yeah.
Millions. When you win the CrossFit Games,
I think Reebok writes you a $250,000 check.
Yep.
But then the endorsements are crazy.
Oh yeah, everyone comes beating down your door to try and sponsor you.
Right.
So I think that since the money has really gotten in there, that people are really trying to do what they can to maximize the points that they score at the CrossFit competition.
They want to show that even if they're not going to win, that they're the best at something.
Right.
Because if they're the best at something, they're going to also have a career in being that something.
Yeah.
I'm the best gymnast in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the strongest weightlifter. I'm the this, I'm the that, and then everybody's going to go to you. I can't remember the guy's name. I want to say it's Isaiah, actually.
Really?
He, the best weightlifter in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody looks at his YouTube videos, not the CJ Cummings or the Matty Rogers or the real good people in the world. They look at this guy because he's the best in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's making money just based off of that. But to kind of go back, if you're going into a CrossFit gym because you want to weightlift, unfortunately right now that's the only place you can go.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that my bosses they don't like it. My bosses hate the fact that I'm a weightlifter because, first of all, I'm arrogant and cocky because I'm a weightlifter.
Or are you arrogant and cocky, which led you to weightlifting?
Both, right? So to me, we were talking martial arts.
Yep.
Snatch, clean, and jerk is my new martial art.
Right.
You fuck with that, that's my yoga too.
Well, and that's why I think you've gotten so good at them because you've taken that same mentality towards weightlifting.
Yeah, that same, I can really focus on thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I became the head coach of this team training thing that we do, Alloy, I had to give up my yoga class. I did yoga every Friday. I taught it.
Right.
And, 30 people are still pissed that I had to give up this yoga class. But at that point, I committed myself to weightlifting because I said, this is going to replace my yoga. So again, my bosses tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda. They hate it. If and my boss has said this many times to me. He said, if you were any worse at your job, you couldn't weightlift, you'd be fired, you'd be gone. Because they just don't want me.
That?
Oh,
yes. That to you?
Yes. If you were bad at your job, you'd be gone. But again, so...
But you give them no choice because you're a badass trainer.
Well, I give them no choice because so many people like me.
Yeah.
Right?
They burn the place down.
That's the problem, is the team training. So they put me at the helm of it, kinda. I'm
with
unofficially
severe oversight.
Right. I'm unofficially the head coach.
Yeah.
Anytime where that's to their advantage, they'll say, "Oh, this is our head coach." But when it comes to like treatment, pay,
leveraging for you,
I'm no different than any of the other coaches. Anytime a decision needs to be made, I'm not really consulted. Right now, I've got bosses making decisions that have never taught a class. They don't understand. Right. So we're in a small classroom with a lot of people, and it keeps growing. They want it to grow on one side, but they're not willing to give us more space on the other. So what they're trying to do is figure out how do we get more space. And their thought is, let's get rid of the bumper plates, let's get rid of all the bars, because we don't really use them that much, which isn't true. I pulled a bunch of the coaches, and a few of my coworkers, not only do they use the bumper plates themselves, but they coach athletes. Our whole summer program is based around the deadlift and the squat, and so it's not something that we can get rid of. But again, they're people who have never even taught a class trying to make decisions for us, right? Yep. But anyway, so again, if I were any worse, I'd have been gone a long time ago because I don't take their shit, and they know it. I don't lie to them, but I'm arrogant in the way that I kind of approach things, where I go in there and it's like...
more like, it's like, I know about this and you don't, so why are you telling me?
Exactly. And they get that too, is where, they're trying to tell me, well, we need to restructure how the classroom is so that we can fit more people.
You're like, no, we don't.
And I'm like, no, because if we lose anything in this room, we lose time trying to chase it down.
Yes.
And, even my crate being in there, so they want to get rid of my crate because at first it was where all the other barbells are,
Yep.
but the fire marshal said you can't have it in there. So we were thinking of other places. It ended up in the area where I train all these classes. And they want it out of there because in their mind it's just taking up space.
Yeah.
Plus it's associated with Josh. They don't really like me. I know for a fact none of my bosses on a personal level like me. They have to tolerate me because however I made it work, I'm their head coach.
Yeah.
They hate me. They absolutely hate me. So my jerk blocks are there. In their minds, those jerk blocks are there for me personally because I use them for jerks. They don't realize because they've never taught a class.
And they've never watched you teach
Right.
class.
Oh, no. I've never had a performance review based on my actual performance. It's usually just based on what I'm selling.
Right. Oh,
right.
okay.
Just what I'm selling. They've never come to a class, reviewed a class. They don't, for all they know, I could be jerking off in front of everybody and they love it and they leave. That's for all they know because they've never actually witnessed a class.
Man.
They leave all sweaty and gross because maybe they get hot and bothered and maybe we're just circle jerking the whole time. For all they know, that's it. Why is there smears on the mirrors? That's it. What's this white shit doing on the floor? Oh, that's quote unquote chalk. We're not having a party in here. Nothing. Okay, for all they know, because I never really see my bosses. If it weren't for one of my boss's wives, if it weren't for one of my boss's wives, they'd have no clue. They'd have no clue what goes on in that room. They couldn't. The one day one of the owners couldn't even tell me the 3 types of classes we teach. Like there's a really high intensity one, there's one that's based on strength, and there's one based just on core type training. Mm-hmm. Couldn't even tell me that. So that's how out of the loop this guy is. But if it weren't for his wife, they would have no idea. But so my jerk blocks, again, they see it as I just use them to do jerks.
Yeah.
They don't realize that, oh shit, every time they use sandbags, they got to put them somewhere. They got to set them up somewhere. Hey, sometimes we're doing really heavy carries and it's way more efficient to just grab it off the boxes and go.
Oh, for sure.
Right? You don't,
safer.
Right. You don't want to put them on the foam boxes because they'll bounce off or slide or they're foam, so they're going to warp. We don't necessarily want to destroy our equipment. Also, when we do a lot of really heavy, like single arm kettlebell stuff, we'll use those jerk blocks because let's say I tell you for a minute, I want you to completely gas yourself, carry the heaviest kettlebell you possibly can. That last 2 seconds, you're chasing down to those boxes to set them on the box. There are so many pock holes in there from when people literally just drop their kettlebell on those boxes. Again, you put it on foam, it's bouncing into your You try to put it on the shelves, we rip down the shelves. And so again, jerk blocks are being used. My sandbags, the sandbags that we use, my bosses don't understand that in these classes, we actually have strong athletes that use the 185-pound sandbag. Mm-hmm. What the gym provides is a 70-pound bag that crippled old ladies use. You know what I'm saying?
So the ones that the gym provided, were those square or like the tube ones?
The tubes with handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the strong fit ones where
you got the actual bags.
The actual bags. Yeah, all 4 of those. I'm not sure if I own one of them. I'm sure I do because the trainer that does own it, he hasn't come by to pick it up. He's asked about it, but he's never really done anything about it. Yeah. So in the future, I might just give him $50 and say it's mine. Whatever, because he doesn't use it. He's never going to. Anyway, my crate, so my crate took place of 4 barbells that were just laying on the floor. Mm-hmm. So space-wise, it takes up the same. But I realized when I have classes of more than 10 people put their stuff on the crate, so it's not on the floor.
Right.
So it's at least used for stuff.
Well, it's not like that space would have their stuff there anyways.
On the floor. Yeah, exactly.
So that space would be used.
Yeah, it's just when you walk in there and nobody's using the room, you look and you're like, oh, we could easily get that out of here.
Well, and what is that? 6 square feet?
4 by 8, so 32 square feet.
But at the end of the day, that's pushed up against the wall. Is that really used? Is that usable space?
No, so
because again, it's up against a mirror.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah,
mirrors in a functional gym. I mean, if I were to have my dream gym, I'd have mirrors in front of the dumbbells, nowhere else.
Yeah, oh, I agree. I like mirrors for one cue. When we're doing kettlebell cleans, when we're doing squats or anything, it's give yourself eye contact the whole time. Mm-hmm. Look yourself in the eye That's all we use mirrors for.
Yeah.
Once in a while, if we're doing bent over rows, they might glance just to make sure their back is flat.
Yeah.
But I mean, mirrors aren't really anything. If it were possible, if my bosses said, how could we get more space, I would say take down the mirrors.
Yes.
Because people...
You can use more on the wall.
Well, no, not even that. So let's say we were to take my crate away, my boxes away, anything, even the plates. They're only 2 feet, 3 feet away from the wall, which are right up against mirrors. Even if we were to take all that stuff out, we wouldn't gain any space because people would stay away from the mirrors. Exactly. Yeah. So really it's protecting those mirrors, having that stuff there, because if we were to take it all away, nobody would get closer to the mirrors. Yeah. Nobody. So people will butt themselves right up to the crate, right up to the boxes, right up to the plates because they know...
There's that safety
exactly
buffer there.
Yeah. So if we were to actually save space, it'd be to take down these mirrors. But again, so they tolerate that I'm a weightlifter, so I'm so fortunate that they let me. If and when they fire me, having to find a place to go would be tough. I'd have to do some begging and some dick sucking, but I'd probably... There's a few CrossFit gyms in the area where I might be able to convince them that, hey, I'll pay you whatever you want for CrossFit. Right. You'll let me in, and then I'll teach a seminar once in a while to teach your athletes how to weightlift better. I could certainly do that.
And that's the downfall of CrossFit gyms is the fact they don't have open gyms.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so going way back, beginners when it comes to weightlifting. So yeah, if you're going into CrossFit and they make you do Isabel, I hope to God you have a good coach that protects you. Okay?
Yep.
Most CrossFit classes don't have what's called an onboarding class.
Right.
So I highly recommend hire Cole, okay? Hire Cole, SHP, and he'll at least put you through a screen.
Yep.
He'll at least check what your body does. He's going to check it in different positions and at least be able to tell you, hey, an overhead squat might not be what you want to do up front. You might want to do this or that. Hiring a personal trainer or somebody who has at least coached weightlifting responsibly, they'll put you through the basics. So if brand new, you need to be able to overhead squat, right? You need to know how to get into the proper snatch grip when you're lifting it off of the floor. So until you can master grabbing onto the bar in the snatch grip and lifting it off the ground 3 inches the right way and doing an overhead squat, you really shouldn't snatch.
Right.
Okay? And again, so we launched it this week. Please send us your videos. Now, a lot of you, what you're doing is you're sending us the videos in chat, so you're actually sending it as a message. That's fine. We would prefer that you tag us, because then it'll come up on our post if you hit, what friends have shared. So that we're hoping we have 1,000 videos of all these other people that, if you were to click on, oh, here's the advice, Cole gave to this person doing a deadlift, and here's what Josh said to the snatch. Message works, and I've been getting back to you guys, but again, tag us. That way other people can benefit from it, because that's the whole point of this. Right? But anyway, so if you want us to watch your overhead squat, get a side angle, let me see it. Let me see your snatch grip. Same with the clean. If you can't front squat, you can't clean. No. Okay, you shouldn't. If you don't know how to get into the proper position to lift the bar off the ground, shouldn't be doing cleans. And if you can't do a simple military press, just pressing it over your head, you shouldn't be doing jerks either.
And that's the thing about weightlifting that I like, is that it's it's all common sense. Because you can easily break down those complex movements into easy movements that are,
stages.
Right, exactly. So, like you said, if you can't deadlift in a snatch grip,
right, if you can't get your upper back tight and your back flat, you shouldn't be trying to do
doing the entire thing.
Let alone doing 30 in a workout your first day.
Right. So if you just mentally break down the lift into these different components, master those components, and then start to think about putting them all together into the complete lift.
So when I've taught athletes that have never done weightlifting before, let's say they've never even touched a bar before, their program is military press, specific deadlifts, overhead squats, and front squats. They're just doing that again and again and again, because we want you to get comfortable. Then, let's say you do that for 2 weeks. you're getting some good general work in. Hopefully
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing some other goofy stuff too, sandbags and stuff.
And you're just getting used to having a bar in your hands.
Exactly. Then after 2 weeks of understanding this is what a squat feels like, this is what the pull kind of feels like, you shouldn't even necessarily pick it all the way up yet,
Right.
because you can teach yourself bad habits.
Yeah.
The way a power lifter deadlifts and the way a weightlifter deadlifts has to be different. For a power lifter, if you were in competition,
That's where it ends. Is at the
yeah,
top.
the way a weightlifter lifts, you would always be red lighted in a powerlifting competition, and the reason is because it's considered a hitch.
Yep.
You actually have to hitch to do a weightlifting exercise. Yep. You can't hitch if you're doing
because you don't
powerlifting.
necessarily for a weightlifter, you are never standing erect with your feet flat.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
I mean?
Yeah.
In the middle of a.
At least not for any extended period of time.
Right,
yeah.
right. You're always that's a transition spot,
Mhm.
so that's why it's got to be a little bit different.
Yeah, the moment you hit that top portion of your, let's say your snatch, let's say clean, so it looks like a traditional deadlift. Even though it kind of looks the same, it's certainly different. But the moment you hit that extension point, that bar has made contact with you early. It is literally jumping off of your lap, and you're already moving under the bar. So for a power lifter, they just need to get into that position without the bar going back down or without them rebending and what again is called a hitch. If you don't know what it is, Google it. So again, first week at least, practice those real basics, and you should always go back. Every warm-up I do, so I've been doing this for a long time, I still overhead squat to warm up. I still do some pulls to warm up, then I go through the full motion. Then, at that point, a week or two in, then you can do things like, how do I jump and catch the bar? What is this muscle snatch he was talking about? You shouldn't necessarily think to do a full snatch for an extended period of time, maybe even your first month, because there's so many little things that you should be working on. What the difference between catching and landing is, and where your feet should be. There's a lot of footwork drills you can do, but we're talking first few weeks. You would start it maybe at the hip, and again, you work on just what does it feel like to connect you jumping and pulling, and then putting the bar over your head. That could take you weeks to understand from the hip how to get it from your hip to your overhead position, let alone trying to catch it, squat it, anything like that. Then, once you've figured that out, then at that point you can take it from the floor and maybe start working the deadlift into that position. But again, you shouldn't ever think to do the full motion for a long ass time.
No.
Same when it comes to clean, same when it comes to jerk. There are stages to even the jerk. So what you see maybe on the CrossFit Games, they went through the military press. Then they did the push press. Then they did something called the power jerk or a push jerk, depending upon your terminology. And along that whole journey, they were learning how to split their feet, receive it in a certain position. There's so much behind the scenes that needs to go on.
And I think that's an issue that a lot of new lifters have, is because with this whole Instagram age, people are only posting the lifts that look the best.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that are with the most weight.
Yeah.
So they're not going to post, them working on their fundamentals with a military.
For sure.
press.
Exactly.
They're going to post them throwing
Unless it's a
300 pounds.
PR.
Right. They're going to post up 300-pound snatch or jerk or whatever. They're going to. So you don't necessarily see the behind the scenes unless you are with a coach or you just have studied enough that you know that.
And that's something we're trying to alleviate. So in the future, instead of posting all of the, and I'll post the videos of me and my athletes and Cole's athletes and him hitting our PRs, and you get to see the progress.
Well, yeah, because it's dope watching someone throw.
Exactly. But the way we're going to do it is we'll crop this all together and edit it all together. It'll be the end of the video. Let's say the video is 5 minutes long. At the end, you'll see Cole deadlifting 750. But maybe the first clip you see is him not being able to pull 500, or him working on rehab, or him working on his warm-ups or whatever. And you get to see all the dark days leading up to it, not the good days. Yeah. So I have so many videos of missing snatches, of it just didn't feel right, it looked weird, it was this, it was that, I was on the ball of my foot, whatever. And then you get to see this end product. Because again, perfection happens very seldomly. And hopefully it happens on your PR. But again, what you see on Instagram, so I'll give you an analogy. If you were to take a selfie of yourself right now, how many selfies do you think you would take?
Right.
Before it's right. Especially, no offense, if Courtney, she's not here so I can talk some mad shit. So, if Courtney is in the picture with me, minimum of 5 shots.
Right.
At least 5 pictures. Because then she'll say, oh, I like this one the best.
Yes.
Same when it comes for lifts.
Yep.
It's, you know.
Dude, yeah, for sure. Like, even for me, if I have my top 3 sets recorded, I'm going to look at the one that all the reps look the fastest. I'm going to post that one.
Your working sets.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that might be my second set. That might be my last set. But
or first or whatever.
Whatever, yeah. I mean,
or a warm-up set.
Yeah, you're always going to post the one that looks the best.
Yeah, if you ever catch a lifter, if they had a terrible day, their post will be something like warming up to 550 and you see them at 315 and it looks great. Right. Because they won't show you that 550 blue chunks or they missed it or whatever. And again, I want, this podcast we'll be talking about all of our misses, our failures, because success is great and we've had plenty.
Well, that's what we strive for, right?
Exactly.
So that's what we glorify when we did it.
But we want to start glorifying the fuck-ups too.
Glorify the grind.
Glorify, because that's, I always tell people, it's not how good you do on your good days, it's how good you can do on the worst day possible. Yes. Because you always have to expect you're not going to sleep enough, you go to a competition, whatever, your girlfriend just dumped you, whatever, somebody passed away, something. You're thinking about something else. On your worst day, those are the PRs I track. Yes. So I always tell people, they'll say, what's your, PR snatch? I'll tell them, but then I'll always say, but my minimum for the day is always this. It's been so long that I've, let's say, needed a PR or whatever, and I can't hit, 100 kilo snatch. Yeah. I mean, if you told me for 5 days in a row I need you to hit 100 kilos, I can do it. Right. Okay. So anything less, it just doesn't happen. But most people, if you ask them, what's your minimum? They have no idea. Right. Because on the dark days, they chicken out, they wuss out, they do something else.
And that's I tell my lifters the same thing. I'm like, if they're messaging me and being like, man, I just feel like crap today, I'm like, you know what? Now's the time. You just got to bite down, grind through. And I think we've talked about this before, but it's like, just get the work done. Yes. Just go. I don't care if you're thinking about you're in your happy place. Like, anything you have to do to get through this workout, do it. Yeah. You have to get through this workout because these are the days you get better. Yes. You don't get better the days where you're feeling perfect and everything's moving fast. Those days are easy. Yeah. And you're not thinking those days. Right. Those days are easy. The days that you get better are the hard days that you don't want to be at the gym, that you're running late, that you have to get it in a short amount of time, that you feel like a little extra stressed. Yes. Like all these, those are the days that matter. 6 snatches and it took you 13 attempts and you ended up with only 3. Yes. Those days. Those days matter. And that's what we got to glorify that grind because those are the days that lead to the posts on Instagram. For sure. Those are the days that lead to those American records. Right. Those are the days that lead to the PRs. If you don't go through any of those days, you're never going to touch your potential. Well, so I'll give you an example. So seriously, I took 13 attempts, got 3, needed to get 6. Okay? And that's the only reason I kept taking attempts. So, and this is what changed my mindset when it came to the snatch. So it was, I needed to do 6 singles. It was at like 89, 90, 91, somewhere in there percentage-wise. Yep. Let's just say, for my sake, it was 92%. Okay. Let's just make me feel really good. Okay, so I videotaped every rep, and I kept consistently making the same problem. But I didn't notice this until later. But, I would do a rep, and I made one, missed one, made 2 in a row. So I'm like, I'm having a great day. Yeah. Missed 9 in a row. So I even would drop down and wait, get the weights, come back up, couldn't get it. The bar was going high enough, I was locking it out overhead, I just couldn't stabilize it and kept losing it. So again, 3 reps and I needed to get 6. So I went back and I'm like, you know what, terrible day. I got my clean and jerk that I needed to, I got my squat, so I at least got something out of the day. Yeah. But it kept bugging me. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I felt like I slept well enough, and I looked at the videos. Coach's eye has been a huge help. I'll do it in reverse, slow-mo, draw lines, this, that, and the other thing.
So here's something cool. Go on the Complete Athletes Facebook page. Find the find the post of us talking about send us your videos, and we'll queue them up for you. But look at that picture. There's a line drawn. Can you identify what my problem was? Because that's one of my lifts from the day that I only got 3 out of 13.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Most people look at that and they're like, you got it over your head. It's right. It's fucking wrong. Okay. Yeah. So what I found out, and this is why I explicitly say there's a difference between catching the bar and landing with the bar. So in that picture, I'm landing, but my arms happen to be locked out. And in the last 4 weeks, I've been really good about catching the weight.
Yeah.
So again, my old philosophy was get the bar, go through the motion, get under the bar as fast as possible, and in the bottom of your squat, you can deal with wherever that bar ends up. Because speed under the bar is number one, because maybe you don't get the bar high enough, and it's still true. But, I'm so comfortable in the bottom of a squat that I can sit there all day. Right. So I usually end up having to save a weight. But then I realized that at no point could I not just sit at the bottom of my squat. Like, I would hit the bottom of my squat and I couldn't just come right up out of the bottom. I had to be down there.
Right.
Because I had to always save the weight. And I realized that's kind of a flaw in my thinking.
Right.
So again, watching these videos, I realized, I'm just fucking landing, praying, and trying to stabilize and do shit like that. So in the
You're kind of being reactive instead of
exactly.
proactive.
Yes. Exactly right. So now, even the way I cue it to my weightlifting athletes, it's not, and they'll do it sometimes too. You're trying to land under the bar. You're not trying to catch it so you can slow it down, right? Because otherwise it's just crashing on you, and then all these problems ensue. But since I've figured that out, like I said, I've missed like 5 or 6 out of the 50 reps I've done.
And that brings us back to just how a simple mentality
exactly
can, where, like you said, it may not look super different to the regular person looking at it.
And on video, it looks so similar.
Yeah.
So similar. I'll have to cue it up and show you.
It's the way that you're thinking about it. Like I just mentioned, being proactive instead of reactive. Right. And it's just, that's the stuff that a lot of beginners don't get. That's why they get bored.
And that's why we were saying also dark days are the best. Because if it weren't for that day, I'd still be catching the ball. I mean, I'd still be landing.
You wouldn't have learned.
Exactly.
That's why they say, failures are where you learn.
If you want to get better. If you truly want to be the best weightlifter you can be, or the best power lifter, so I always tell people, if in a 12-week period I get defeated by the bar more than once, the volume was too much. But in a 12-week period, that's 60 workouts.
Yeah. One
day, I get defeated where I have a 3 for 13. There are days where it's like I miss, I get 5 out of 6.
Right.
Or, maybe I was supposed to get 95% and I could only get 93 because it wasn't there. That's different. This is the bar beat me.
Right.
Where I just couldn't figure it out in the moment.
Yep.
1 out of 60, that's not a bad thing.
That bad.
But that 1 out of 60 is the best lesson you possibly can have.
Yeah.
Because it's a dark day. So let me pull it up. I'll show you. What we'll do is, this will be kind of like a fight companion if you've ever watched JRE, Joe Rogan Experience. So I'll put up these videos so that you guys can kind of follow along. But let me see if I can find the original snatch video that taught me a lesson. Oh, here it is.
You got that queued up, man. That was fast.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I would say the worst one is this one, because it looks like I'm going to get it. All right. Motherfucker. Screw you.
And so people who don't know, Josh is the worst with technology.
Yes, I am. Shut up. All right. I think this is the right one. So I'll show you this one, and then I'll show you what I've been working on, and we'll see if you can spot the difference. Oh, maybe this is one I actually got that day. Fuck, it is. Sure it is. All right. So that wasn't a good one. It's the one right after. You can see
the one you're walking away in
the
defeat.
One I'm walking away just fucking angry. Just angry. For sure. Let's see if it's this one. Yeah, okay, perfect. This is a good one. So we'll pull that one up. So we'll cross it. Isn't that a great shot?
Yeah.
And then we'll do it with yesterday's 95%. So I'm comparing one video of 95% to a video that is 88%. And it's the 88% where I make the mistake. So what I'll show you is, notice when I'm pulling under the bar, I'm in my squat position and the bar pushes down on me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It pushes down on me. Where in this other video, I push up on the bar.
Against the bar, yeah.
Right? So again, the only difference is, in one way I was trying to get into my squat as fast as possible, worry about it later.
Yep.
Where the other way, I'm actually trying to...
You're almost thinking about catching the weight before.
No, what I'm actually trying to do is, so I'm just trying to get under it enough that I can start standing up. So where, again, before it was
You're in the mindset where you're saying, like you said, I can sit down here all day.
Yep.
All I need to do is catch this weight.
Right.
Whereas now you're thinking about
I'm
already
trying to decelerate it.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so again, the other way, hit the bottom of my squat, no big deal. I can fuck with it. This one, I literally want to get myself under and around the bar as fast as possible and start standing up right now.
Yeah.
Don't even fucking wait for that bar.
Right.
Because again, it comes almost from a fear of the old way. It was when you hit the bottom of the snatch, it's less fearful because I can worry about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Where this way, without even really being able to be aware of it, I have to rack the bar and go.
Right.
It's very different.
Right.
I can't think about it. I have to trust that all of this training that I've done up until this point is right.
Yeah.
So that not consciously being able to think, unconsciously, my body can just do.
Right.
And I can think, stand up.
Yep.
It's very freaky, and it was... There's been a few misses that were pretty sketchy in the beginning, where it's like, holy shit, I almost died. But now it's... Again, I missed one repetition yesterday, and it was because someone walked in front of me.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Tony.
Of course.
It was one of the trainers. Fucking asshole. And he knows I hated it. But I will say, he realized right away what he did.
Yeah.
And the look on his face of, like, terror, it made it all worth it. He knew it was stupid. But yeah, so that little thing is so hard to see. Right? Because either way, I'm in an overhead squat, my hands are above my head, and I'm stabilizing. But in one way, it's, again, the bar pushes me into a weird position, where this other way, a heavier weight, I'm dead still.
Yeah.
I'm still stabilizing, but it's my whole body it's already linked to that bar, where I'm not, I'm disconnected.
So what it sounds like to me, so you mentioned that when you were first trying this, you had some scary misses. That's almost, you need that so that, because you need to get to the point where it's automatic.
Oh, 100%.
So you need to feel all the different things that happen throughout you trying this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's the biggest thing with why practice is so important.
Yeah.
Because...
And trying new things.
Right.
Being
the
scared.
last thing you want is when you are going for a PR or a max effort or a heavier weight or whatever. You don't want to be thinking about this.
No.
You want everything to be automatic.
Maybe one thing pops into your mind.
Right.
At this point, I'm going to do this. When I hit the bottom of my squat, I drive down.
And that's the thing with, I think people are only able to think about one cue at a time during a lift.
I agree. They should only think about one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's why you have to mess around sometimes.
For sure.
And just be like, okay, well, this feels different, but does it look better?
Yeah.
Because again, you're practicing all this time, and if you're practicing something just a little bit wrong, you're going to stop thinking about that.
Oh, for sure.
But then you won't know that's wrong until you try something different, or you have someone tell you to try something different.
Yeah, and what I always tell people is, so again, the difference between CrossFit and what I do is CrossFit, you got a PR today. For me, it's, I'm willing to technically throw away a PR for the next 4 weeks to improve something that later on might reap me 20-pound PR.
There's a huge difference between getting a PR that day and getting better that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's so many different aspects you can get better at in a session that have nothing to do with your PR that day.
Exactly.
Which, like you said,
you might actually
lay the groundwork for weeks down the road, months down the road, where you hit a PR.
Right.
But you're not necessarily going to hit it that day.
And again, there are so many Instagram people, CrossFit people, where it's, I need this PR today.
Yeah.
Today.
Why? Why?
Exactly.
Why do you need it today?
Exactly. And I used to be that way where it's like, I got a fucking PR, you know? But no, it is that way. And again, so if you look at the videos up into that video I showed you first, they all look, you know, some people call it pull and pray or crash and burn or whatever. Then you look at the videos after that day and you realize, holy shit, he made this change today.
And it's sometimes, you know,
sometimes it's wrong.
Well, and checking your ego and being able to dial in on this one thing and fix it so that that's something you don't need to worry about down the road is going to be much more beneficial to you.
And what's nice about doing it the old way is when in doubt, get low as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, so...
Well, because now that you've done that for so long, you know that that's an option
Exactly.
for you. But if you, if you get to a position where you need to rely on that, it's there.
Yeah.
But you will do this other way primarily.
Yes, because it is better.
Right.
But again, it's the old way wasn't wrong, and that's what's so hard for people to understand. It wasn't wrong. This new way is just better. So
better for you.
Well, so the old way, there is one point where it's better than this new way. The old way, I was getting lower faster. So I can lift more weight that way because maybe I can't get the bar high enough, but I can get lower faster.
Yep.
So I can rely on that. But if I can take, okay, I can get this low really, really fucking fast and put in this new, put the brakes on, pump the brakes on this weight soon and put those two together, now I've got the best of both worlds.
Yep.
It's just I'm still trying to figure that out because right now, most of my reps, I end up really high and it kind of gets stuck in the dead man zone where I get no bounce. I'm kind of right at parallel, the weakest part. And, you know, it's my ass has been burning like crazy because it has to do extra work than it would ever do. So I'm still figuring it all out, but I already know if I can get this feeling at the bottom where I was before, best of both worlds.
Yeah.
All right, I got to show you my dance.
Okay.
So this third video, you guys will be seeing. There'll be links in the description. So snatch 95%, clean, 3/4 jerked, my 98%. I'll show you that video first, actually. Hang on. So I don't know what the fuck happened that I missed this jerk. I don't know why. But the clean after all the work that I've been doing this week, here's me prefacing it because I'm a little bitch.
Yeah.
98%. I get stuck on the way up, but that's all right. And this jerk, I'm so mad that I missed this jerk. So I get it locked out overhead, and I'll show you why I missed it. So again, this is why we want you to, this is why, it's super close, right? This is why we want you guys to send us your videos, is because you might not know why I missed that jerk. But I'll scoot it back, and I'll show you why. So I dip straight down. As soon as I start to extend, watch what happens in my feet. So I shifted, oh shit, stop. So instead of driving through the front of my heel, I got pulled to the balls of my feet. So by getting pulled to the balls of my feet...
Then it almost lagged your split.
No, that's fine. But what happens is because I was on the balls of my feet, my energy went forward, so the bar went forward. So the split's fine. It's because it didn't get very high because I was on the balls of my feet. My body naturally gets lower to lock it out.
Right.
This position's great if that bar were back
an inch.
Yeah, if that. But because it was there, that also, again, was forward. And then when I tried to recover, it was still a little too forward. And I recovered it too soon. So what I should have done is when I was in that position is just push up and back on it a little bit. And it'd have been in the right position. Or as I noticed it was coming forward, I didn't care enough to chase it down because it wasn't a PR, so it's not worth dying over. another way is to run under it a little bit better. But again, very, very close. And all because I was on the ball of my foot a little bit. So again, you guys need to send your videos to us because you might not have seen that until I zoomed in and slowed it down.
Yeah.
And you just will barely see it shift. But so after a 95% snatch, a 98% almost clean and jerk, I go for my first 200 kilo deadlift after all that volume.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it before, but never. So when I did 200 kilo deadlift, I had done it first. This is
after a ton of work.
2.5 hours into a workout.
Yeah.
This is week 4, day 5. The day before I had squatted, 4 days of squatting up until this point. There's a ton of shit that goes into doing this. And I know why I do it, but you're going to laugh.
Ooh.
See all that fucking dancing I just did?
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I've been working on is how much I engage my lats. Because again, so for your guys' deadlifts, you need to make sure that bar goes straight up and down.
Yeah.
Where for my deadlift, it has to go just slightly back toward me.
Right.
So I really have to put my lats into it. So what was happening is I would push with my legs a little, pull back with my lats. Push with my legs, pull back with my lats.
So
it wasn't happening
feet,
simultaneously.
Were your feet kind of... Were you rocking on your feet at all?
So again, it was... Instead of being one smooth thing, as my legs extend, I pull back.
Yeah.
It was legs pull back, legs pull back, legs pull back, legs pull back. It wasn't happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
But you see how far forward I have to be over that bar?
It seems like the bar travels away from you a little bit, and you're like, oh crap, keep it close.
Yeah, pull
it's
back.
Like, and then it goes
legs,
away, and then it's like,
back.
oh crap, keep it close.
Yeah, pull back legs, pull back legs, pull back legs.
I've never seen someone do that.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
That's weird.
I've never... Oh, who's fucking bad at... Goddamn electronics now, bitch. It's the iPads. Fuck iPads.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Fuck iPads, but here we'll go. But yeah, so it is. It's pulling back. Try to keep it back.
But I think, honestly, once it happens, that first one...
Oh, yeah,
then
it's a pendulum.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pendulum at that point.
The same thing happened to Joel, my training partner, last week when we were squatting. Right out of the hole on his third lift of our top set, his third squat, his hip shot back a little faster than normal.
Yep.
Then he's like, oh, crap. I got to push my back into it, and then the whole way up, he was going back
because
and forth.
It was a little bit too far back, now too far forward, too far. But so the same deadlifting mechanics happen here. See how it comes back? Same mechanics.
Yep.
It's just that for whatever reason, whether it was a PR or whatever the fuck it was, I certainly rounded a little extra. So this isn't a perfectly straight line as soon as I start going. It does round on me just a little bit in here.
Yeah.
Which could have caused it because then I can't use my lats as much. I'm using my pec a little extra. But again...
Yeah, I'm not really worried. That's not...
Nor am I.
Yeah.
But again, the hardest thing for me is to make sure that angle is as far in front as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Because I never want my shoulders to come behind the bar until that point.
Right.
So, and that's tough when it's a PR because again, it's considered a hitch.
Oh yeah. Well, that one I don't know necessarily would be getting red lights, just because
it was continuous.
Yeah, it never stopped moving up. Yeah, it moved laterally, but it never came down and up, or it never rested on your legs at all.
Yeah, which is the ultimate hitch.
Right.
Which a lot of CrossFitters do. So again, Google hitch. A lot of CrossFitters, they deadlift it to their contact point, they hesitate, then they jump, they hesitate again, and then they pull. And that stems from the fact that either A, it's been weeks since they've done cleans, which is a big no-no with CrossFit, so again, for a basic weightlifter, I want you to do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just like Cole was saying. One day, you're going to practice snatch, Monday. Wednesday, maybe you're practicing cleans and front squats, and then maybe Friday you do both in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Where you're getting just that technique refinement twice a week. Eventually, months down the road, you would actually do maybe a certain position work. Maybe you do a snatch from the hip. Maybe you do a power clean on Monday. Maybe on Tuesday you're doing power snatch from the floor and front squats, something similar to the clean. And then on Friday, maybe you're doing the full snatch and the full clean and jerk, or some combination thereof,
Yeah.
but this is months down the road.
Right.
So again, basic, whether you're a power lifter or a weightlifter, just 3 times a week is plenty. If you want to work some of the fun, goofy, general stuff, do that on the Tuesday, Saturday a little bit.
And that's what I have some athletes who are just starting up with me and they haven't done powerlifting training before.
Yeah.
And I send them their program and they're like, really? This is it? And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, this will be more than enough. And they're like, well, can I do more? And I'm like, so I allow them to do more because accessory type stuff.
Right, yeah.
But I'm like, you can do more accessories as long as it does not affect the lifts that I have programmed for you.
Yeah.
If your accessories start affecting your normal lifts that I have programmed for you, then we can't do it anymore.
Right. So speaking of accessories,
and for the most part, like they're talking about arms and bodybuilding type stuff.
For sure. Can I do some incline stuff for my chest?
Right.
So speaking, here's a pretty legitimate question. Bent over rows. Do you allow them, do you do them with a bar or dumbbell? Do you do bent over rows with sumo lifters, with traditional lifters, with both, with neither? How do you program bent over row?
I do bent over rows with everyone.
Okay.
I think bent over row is one of the best things you can do to help your deadlift.
Okay.
And I think just because a strong back will never be a bad thing.
Right.
And the bent over row is one of the best back movements that you can load heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So you're going to really develop a lot of strength there.
Everywhere.
Plus, that position is also working your lower back, which is even just staying there statically.
And just getting around the knee.
Yes.
You know?
So that, I mean, I love the bent over row for the deadlift.
Do you do bent over rows as an accessory lift all the way up to competition? Do you take them out?
I'll take them out right in the peak phase somewhere, depending on how the athlete is with recoverability.
Yeah.
But
for weightlifting, I'll program in. I'll even do Yates rows where your palms are up.
Yep.
Right. I like sets of 8 and 10 with those because it's not too heavy then.
Yeah.
Because, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong, and I'm glad you think of it this way. If you're a powerlifter, weightlifter, you need that top end strength of your lower back.
Oh yeah.
So doing 3s on the bent over row, maybe even 5s, that might be too close to the actual weight that you're going to be using on deadlift. That especially as you're getting closer to a peak, that can be very detrimental. You're not going to be able to pull. Your lower back can only handle so much.
And the lower back, if you torch your lower back, you will feel that in every single movement you do.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be careful with working your lower back specifically, just because if you, like, that's why no one has like a lower back specific day, Right. Because if you do just crush your lower back one day, do, all lower back movements, you'll be destroyed for about a week and a half, and it's going to affect all your other lifts. So you kind of, obviously it's getting work in the deadlift.
Right.
And then, like I said, it
Squats.
gets a little bit supplemental work with the other back movements.
Right, yeah.
RDLs get a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good
bent
one.
over rows, and even normal dumbbell rows. Your lower back is almost just stabilizing in every movement that you're going to get a little bit from.
For sure.
From
and again, so the rows are meant to add some volume to your lower back. Yes. It's not necessarily meant today to make it stronger. It's over this 6-week phase, this 8 weeks before we start to really peak, whatever. We're going to slowly bring up the volume of our lower back so it can handle the really high intensity once we get there. Right.
Yeah, you're giving it a little bit of volume, and like the bent over row is it's not made to hit your lower back. It's kind of a byproduct.
Yeah, it's just an isometric hold.
Right.
Yeah.
But doing those kind of things, like you said, is going to expose your lower back to the volume so that you know that it can withstand the heavier movements.
Exactly. And it comes from like more of like a health type thing too.
Yeah.
Again, you're not so the lower back, like we were saying, can only handle so much load. It can also only handle so much time. Your lower back is kind of a weird endurance muscle.
It is.
It's really weird where just all of a sudden, some days you can do sets of 6 deadlifts, but some days you can't because you just can't take that time.
Well, and for me too, some days I'll be warming up on deads and my lower back will have a pump.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
this isn't normal.
Right.
Like, either then I'll like have to like look at my technique a little bit, be like, what am I doing different? Or some days it's just is
fatigued. Yeah, it just didn't recover as well as it did last week, or maybe you didn't activate your hips a certain way, or it could be a myriad of things. But if you are a basic bitch, just starting, okay, be the noob. It's no big deal. I was a basic bitch at one day, so it was called.
Everyone was.
Someday, I mean, you just heard me talk about my snatch. 4 weeks ago, I was a basic bitch starting over, technically.
Right.
I mean, my weights didn't start over, but I was a basic bitch. I always will remain a white belt.
Dude, I was literally just going to say white belt mentality.
I still have my white belt.
White belt mentality is the best thing you can have just in life, period.
For sure.
Always be willing to learn anything in any situation.
Right. I think I would kill people for my white belt and not my black belt.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Right.
Just because
it shows the path.
Exactly. It reminds me of
where you
holy shit, I used to have no clue.
Yeah.
I used to have no clue. And I still don't really have a clue. At least I like to remind myself that.
What's that quote? The more you know,
the less you know.
The more you realize that you know nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's so true. Even with weightlifting, there are so many things that I still need to work on. And I already know, like, I need to work on this my next general phase. I need to work on this my next strength phase, especially to make my snatch, this new form that I'm doing, to make that work. And that's going to be forever.
And that touches on one thing I want to mention quick is, and maybe I've said it on here before, I know I've said it before, but you have to be careful of people who speak in absolutes.
Oh, yeah.
Because if someone says this is the way, this is the only way, and never do this or only do that, that's when you have to be like, well, maybe. But when you know you're talking to someone that's decently knowledgeable, because they'll give, they're not going to say this is the only way to do this.
My favorite is, would that work in the mountains of Colorado?
Right.
That's usually what I'll say to people is, in high elevation, does that still hold true?
Mm-hmm.
No? Then shut the fuck up, bitch.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's so many ways to do things, and that's the thing about just strength training, period, is there's so many different ways to get strong. There are things that I like more than others. Like, I was just talking to one of my clients, John, about he was trying out some deficit deadlifts, and there are certain reasons why I don't like those, but there are other situations where they can be used. Mm-hmm. So that's just, keep an open mind, keep that white belt mentality, be willing to learn. I'm always willing to learn. I know Josh is the same way. That's why I think we get along very well, because we don't take ourselves super seriously. We're always, trying to learn from one another. We know we have different respective knowledges. We're knowledgeable in different respects, but that's the biggest thing about, I think, just being a good coach. Anything,
I also say, so even though I figured out this little nuance for my snatch, and it applies to my clean too, it applies to a 5'7", 26-year-old, 170-pound Josh with limb lengths like this, that thinks in terms of this way, that way, who likes numbers, who is a visual learner,
who has a history in martial
arts, and who's super comfortable at the bottom of a squat, who can turn off his pain or whatever and just do it because he has to.
Yep, it's so specific.
Can do 18 reps and miss again and again and still come back and get it. Doesn't get defeated easily. I mean, this little thing can apply to a lot of people, because it does make sense that you don't want to land, you want to catch, you want to try to get under it faster, slow it down so it's not crashing on you. That makes sense for everybody. Mm-hmm. But the way I do it is going to be different than everybody.
Yeah.
I keep saying this is why you need to hire a guy like Cole, because he's seen a lot of bodies. He's been through a lot. He's seen people get broken. He's been broken. He knows how to fix it.
Yeah.
He's helped train people to American and unofficial world records. He's trained kids. He's trained all of these different body types where he still doesn't know, just shaking your hand, what's going to work for you. But he's got ideas of where to at least start. Right. And that's so hard to come by when it comes to a coach, because so many coaches, they get their certification, and here we go. So I've been at this gym 5 years. Before that, Martial arts, I've been helping people since I was 15. I've been actively coaching since I was about 17. So let's just say I've been doing this for like a decade, right?
Yep.
10 years. I have come, especially in martial arts, we would go to tournaments and there would be more black belts there than competitors. There'd be 200 black belts.
Wow.
I've been to countless tests. I've been to testing situations for low-level white belts, and I've been all the way up to a 4th degree black belt test where I've held for those tests.
Right.
In order to hold for those tests, so I was a 1st degree when I held for a 4th degree test, which is unheard of. There was another gentleman in there that was of similar rank, and the 8th degree that was there, if he could have lasers come out of his eyes and kill somebody, he'd have been dead.
Yeah.
Okay? The guy shouldn't have been there. There was no reason for him to be there. It was a status thing. It was, my instructor gloated, hey, one of my 1st degree black belts is going to be there holding for my test. What now, bitch? You know,
right.
like that. Like,
yeah.
I've got this golden child is what they used to call me. The golden child, and he's, going to be great. So this other coach took it upon himself to be like, bitch, I've got the golden child. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I've been to the high, master's level testing. I've gone to, South Korea to hold for another master's level test before I was even a black belt.
Right.
In that martial art. So I've seen a bunch of different coaches on different levels when it comes to just teaching technique.
Yeah.
And how, so a roundhouse is a roundhouse. A front kick is a front kick. Kinda. Everybody is different.
Kinda.
And
yeah.
I've seen I've gone over and around to so many different gyms where different masters teach it different ways. Different, 8th degrees teach it this way, 3rd degrees, 1st degrees this way, that way, whatever. Then, fast forward 5 years of working at this gym. When I started 5 years ago, I started with maybe 3 other coaches around that same month, I would say started. There was 10 people ahead of me. Now there's only like 3 people seniority-wise ahead of me. That's how many people have come and gone.
Yeah.
Just that were above me. Below me,
it's a revolving door.
40. Yeah. 40 people have come and gone. So again, I've been privy to so many teaching styles, so many different styles and levels of coaches. Most personal trainers, most people that claim they know what the fuck they're doing, they got some rinky-dink certification. They paid the money, they got the cert, and this comes from my martial art that I used to do. It's almost like you'd look at some of the 4th degree masters, and this is disrespectful what I'm saying, but I'm saying it. There were some masters that, holy shit, I pissed myself because they were badass, they were the shit.
Yep.
You're a fucking master. I would bow, I would shake hands.
Right.
But
the
then
respect is like
exactly.
Yeah.
But then there were other masters where I got to see the behind the scenes. I was there for their test. I would things like that where you shouldn't even have on a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have 4 gold bars on that. Fuck you. That was my attitude.
Yeah.
It's not a good attitude because again, let's say it were the military. A major's a major.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time, you're holding that 4th degree black belt title in a very high regard.
In my mind.
In your mind. So if you see someone who, in your mind, doesn't meet what that should be, then you get pissed because you're like, they're shitting on
they're
not giving it justice.
And unfortunately, that also speaks somewhat negatively on the whole process because it's a moneymaker. I get it. It's a business.
Right. Yeah.
A 4th degree master's test is thousands of dollars to take the test. Okay.
Right.
Thousands of dollars. I get it. So if you have somebody who says, yeah, I'll give you whatever to take this test so I can have it, from a business standpoint, you got to look at it like, what's the worst case scenario? They own their own gym. They have 50 students. They're this way. They're that way. They're really good at instructing. Yeah. They're good at teaching. They're terrible at doing. Fuck it, let's put them through.
Right.
So again, in my mind, you have to be able to do both. Same when it comes for a coach. I still work with people. I have people that, even though they've trained less time than me, they're still senior to me because of their position at work. They don't train themselves. They don't feed themselves properly.
When your trainer needs a trainer.
Exactly. Well, and it's, you know what? You're my trainer, bitch. All right, so I need a
No,
trainer
but
too.
it's-
But this one in particular, this person, so I'm just taking a step back. I was a trainer, and I trained a trainer.
Yeah.
I trained that trainer how to do some martial arts stuff. Not martial arts, I'm sorry. Weightlifting stuff. Great. He had a base understanding of what I was trying to teach him because, again, he's getting technically third-hand knowledge because I was getting it from experts.
Yep.
And I was trying to, boil it down to make it make sense to this one person. That coach trained this guy. So he was getting a boiled-down version. Great guy. The guy who I gave this information to. He did his best to make it make sense to this other guy. This coach, the one that I'm still currently working with, took that same information, boiled it down even further, to another coach who ended up actually teaching it to an athlete. So I already don't even hold myself high enough to be teaching coaches at that point.
Right.
Now I'm fine with it. But then that coach taught the coach that I have no respect for, who taught a coach who I really have no respect for, who taught an athlete who had no idea.
Right, yeah.
Their coach is trying to teach them shit. So when you hire just some personal trainer, even if they're charging you $50, and let's say they're at my global gym, at the gym I work at, not all of the people that I work with that charge the same amount per hour are worth the same amount, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely not.
They don't...
There's levels to this.
For sure. But again, you walk into a gym, and unfortunately, a salesman is going to say, this is our best trainer.
Oh, yeah.
We want you to drop $2,000 on this trainer. So, again, I work with some amazing individuals. They have taught me so many things. When I say that Cole should be your first coach, I fucking mean it, okay? Again, and the coolest thing I can say is I don't get paid if Cole does. It doesn't benefit me at all if Cole gets a few more clients. It means nothing to me. Fuck it. It means absolutely nothing to me. He needs to be at least your first coach because, again, he's going to screen you. He's going to check you. He's going to watch you. Even if you're just sending him videos, he's going to ask you the important questions. He's going to... Are you sleeping? What did your training feel like? Are you being just a little bitch today? What's going... Where he will be the hard ass when he needs to be. But again, he's trained so many people.
Right.
And he spent so much time behind the scenes, not only refining himself, but thinking about it for himself and others. He needs to be your first coach.
And
I'm not even kidding.
I think that the most important thing a coach can have, and it's kind of been a little difficult for me just because I'm 22 years old. I'm kind of young.
Oh, yeah,
But
for sure.
I've been in so many different environments, right? So I played college football. I've been in that environment. That is a place who could benefit so much by knowledgeable coaches because the knowledge, especially in Division II, of strength trainers is horrendous.
Right.
It is like despicable.
But the
honestly.
environment, the team mentality.
Oh, dude.
I wish we could train in that environment now.
Honestly, Josh, I get chills when I think about Max Out Day at Concordia St.
Because
Paul
everybody's
University.
there to pump you up.
So-
Environment, awesome.
I hit my best. So in college, my best lift was I squatted 500 for 3, but I had 20 giant, jacked up dudes all surrounding the squat rack, screaming. Like I've never been that hyped in my entire life
Ever.
And like just so like you said, where it's very very weak in just the coaching, but the environment was amazing. Right. So like I said, I've been exposed to that. I've been exposed to coaching with a guy who has coached the national basketball team in Taiwan.
Yeah.
He's currently in China coaching their Olympic team.
Right.
So I've been with him coaching high school athletes. I've been coaching high school athletes at a private gym, coach high school athletes in a high school weight room. You know what I mean? So there's just
different levels for sure.
Right. And I'm young, yes, but I have been exposed to a lot of different experiences, and the biggest thing that has allowed me to be an online coach is because I've seen people in person.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And we talked about this on the first
pisses me
podcast,
off when people are online coaches and have never one-on-one trained somebody.
Yes.
Ever.
Because you don't know what cues work.
No.
You don't know if they're doing this, how to get them to do. You just need to have in-person experience.
And I think a lot of them just don't care. They see it as, I can make money with this.
Cheap, yeah, it's easy money.
I don't have to give a goddamn, really.
Right.
And I can make money.
Right, but if you're doing it right, it is a lot of work.
For sure.
Because it's harder online.
It is.
Because you only get this one camera angle of this lift, and you're not able to give them instant advice.
Right.
So they go through this whole workout potentially doing something wrong, and you have to wait till they hold their next session in order to,
for them to even remember the cue.
Right, and then if they remember it, so it's
and you don't know
different.
what's going on in between sets, if they've been distracted, if they're sitting on their phone on Facebook, if they're Instagramming, if they're walking out, if they're going to the bathroom 15 times because they're nervous, or
and that's
don't
why
see any of that.
And that's why having an online coach, you as a lifter, you have more accountability with yourself.
Yeah.
You need to.
You have to.
Right, because the coach isn't going to be there to tell you what's going on.
Right.
He's not going to be screaming at you to get under the bar.
No.
Especially for me, because I can't get back to my athletes until 6, 7 o'clock at night because I'm working all day and then I'm at the gym. So I take a couple hours every night and get back to everyone.
Right.
So I can't get back to them a lot of times during their workout.
Exactly.
So
which is also why Cole and I are working on kind of a database where all of the online lifters can go.
Right.
So that they get taught, so that, let's say it's with the squat. We'll teach them certain things. We'll teach them levels to those things, from a novice level to an intermediate to an advanced to an elite, so that all these online people can see, here's what's expected of you. Because that's also a tough hurdle for an online coach, is the athletes don't necessarily understand what Cole means when he says squat.
Yes.
They just guess, and then Cole has to coach based on that.
Right.
So we're trying.
I don't have the liberty of showing that.
Exactly. Here's what I want your squat to look like.
Yes.
And then you can teach off of that. We're really trying to work on that, because there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Oh yeah.
But that's a huge hurdle for online coaches, is because if you've never met Cole in person, never really had a time to sit down and talk with him, which is also why this podcast is so good. You get to meet this guy.
You get to know me a little bit.
Exactly. You get to understand his expectations, what he does, and all the hurdles that we've come across. And again, we'll be adding videos and things like that to it, so you can learn more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the hurdle is they don't know what you mean when you say bench.
Yeah.
What does the bench mean to Cole?
Yeah.
And again, we're trying to create, this is what it means when we say snatch, clean, jerk, with our limb lengths, things like that. I'm actually, for most of the videos, we're going to have a proxy. So it'll be us standing there, kind of walking the athlete through, here's what we mean, here's the common mistakes, things like that. Because it's really tough, and it bugs me. And then some pretty respected coaches, they do the exercise themselves, and they're trying to explain it all at the same time.
It's very hard.
Yeah. So that's why I've been taking videos of myself, just to kind of use it as a proxy to teach my athletes. But eventually it'll be me using an athlete, because the way I snatch might be at a higher level than the way a newbie snatches. I think it is.
Right.
So,
hopefully.
right. So I want to use the athletes under me, because hopefully they're not, quote unquote, as good as me, so that I can, there's more teachable moments, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's sometimes it's hard for someone who does it right or better to do it wrong or worse.
Yeah.
Right. So for Cole to do a low bar squat where he purposefully comes onto his toes, that might be tough. But if we have an athlete that automatically comes onto their toes, and part of their teaching is for them to get back better, we can videotape that and teach you guys with it, because it's more natural. So we're working on that. There's just a lot that goes into it, which is why it doesn't exist.
It's a lot of work.
There is a lot. It's 95% thinking and 5% doing. It's easy to shoot the video. It's hard to figure out what the video needs to be.
Yep.
But again, so Cole, let them know where they can reach you.
Yeah. Instagram, ColeWarren_SHP. Salutum's website is salutumhp.com. Facebook, Salutum Health and Performance.
Yeah. So the Coaches Collab podcast just came out with their new swag.
Yep.
Cole's got the shirt on now.
Rocking
You can't
it
see
right
that. Court and I wore it for our max out day yesterday. So again, this is Sunday. you guys will be hearing from us in like 2 days, so it's not going to be too long from now. But get our swag. We'll be having links in the description so you guys can get to that. If you want, again, printable workouts that you can do, if you want nutrition guides, just cookie cutter type stuff that I endorse, go to getcomplete.net. The Instagram is @getcomplete, so it's kind of easy to remember. And follow us. Again, send us your videos. Still tag ColeWarren_SHP and @getcomplete. Tag us in your videos so that it comes up on our post, not just in our messages. It's fine that you're doing it that way. But again, we want to try to benefit more people. And again, we'll grade you. How's your midfoot stance? What's the bar speed like? Are there any comments we have? How can we help you? So, you're kind of getting to experience us as your coach without having to pay for us.
And again, make sure it's right around 60-70%. We don't want to necessarily see you maxing out. Just give us, maybe a set of 3 at 65-70% would be perfect.
Yeah, and on a snatch clean, anything but a max out is really what I want. If it's a weight that you would do 6 sets of 1 on a Monday, send me your ugliest one.
There you go.
I want to see the ugliest snatch that you do.
Give us something we can coach.
Right, the worst case scenario. Because you know what? I bet if you had 15 attempts, you can get a good looking one and you send it. But that's not...
It's not going to help.
Right. I'm glad that you're aware that one is better. But send us the one where you're like, I really done fucked up on this one. Especially the ones that you ask yourself, I don't know why I fucked up. Those are really the ones we want because, again, you might not realize this one little thing that could change your whole career.
Absolutely.
Right? And again, if you're trying to hide that because you're afraid of your ego, don't worry. We're judging you anyway. So it doesn't fucking matter. Your
Maybe
bar,
you'll get so lucky that Josh will call you a bitch.
there you go. Dumb bitch. Your bar isn't heavy enough, obviously. Right? You're not moving it fast enough anyway. Come on, bitch. Put some goddamn weight on. But no, seriously, we don't give a goddamn. But
we've all been there. We've
Right.
all had bad lifts. We've
Right.
all. And honestly, if you truly want to get better at your lifts, this is a good option for you.
For sure. Send us your ugliest one at, again, 60-70% if you're doing power lifts. A snatch, a good 80% would be a good one. A clean and jerk, 80%, because it's heavy enough where if there's going to be something to degrade, you can't really fake it. A 60% clean, you could do with a hard on.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
So again, send us your videos. We're out.
All right. See ya.